Rodney Parade. Once again, it is my pleasure to host the latest Matchday live stream coverage of the Cardiff Blues Guinness Pro 14 season, brought to you by Aspen, Waite, Wales. Pay attention to the microphone. And my guest, I get lots of good guests. I've had lots of good guests.
Some not so good as well.
Well, Shanklin.
I was talking about Shanklin, exactly. I was thinking of Tom Shanklin, yeah.
But apart from that, they've been pretty high quality. Nicky Robinson, lovely to see you. Former Wales Blues, Gloucester. You like Gloucester so much you stayed there.
Why? I stayed in Cheltenham.
Cheltenham is Gloucester.
What's the Cotswolds, I like to call it.
Gloucester.
It's Gloucestershire.
Gloucester.
It's
Gloucestershire.
Yeah.
I've had many a punch in the face. There's a club in Cheltenham called Old Patasians.
Old Pats.
Do you know Old Pats?
Yes, yeah, very close to me.
That's where I had a fight with a bloke who headbutted my hooker, and with a 3-yard run up at him, I gave him the best I could, and he turned around to me and said, "Here, you counter at me, Podgy."
It's the Podgy bit, is it? Podgy as well, wasn't it?
I was relatively athletic in my time. But here we are.
Yes.
At Rodney Parade, where the Blues are actually on a reasonable run of form at home, but they've got a dreadful run of form against their guest today, Glasgow. I believe they've lost 8 out of 8 of the last 8 fixtures, which is something of a worry. I'm not sure that would have been the stats that have been given out during the week for the players. We've lost 8 out of 8 of these boys. It's about time we turned that round. How is it? I was talking to Shanks and also to Reese about in the Celtic League, in the era of the Celtic League. If you're a Cardiff fan, which I have been, Cardiff Blues now, but a Cardiff fan, you think that Cardiff, everyone they play, they would have a better win-lose record against, but we actually have a pretty poor win-loss record against most of the teams we play against, even against the Glasgow side now. I think the only teams we beat more often than we lose to are the Zebra and Benetton, and the Dragons, but nobody counts them. Well, I can say that because it's a Cardiff travel.
But to be fair, I would have to hold my hand up and be responsible for some of those. I mean, we've lost to Glasgow when they've been good, which have been recently. I know they're struggling a bit this year, but they've obviously been quite strong, haven't they? Last few years, but when they were probably a bit poor, used to go up to where was that ground? There was a ground up in the middle of housing estates before they moved to Scotstoun, where they are now. I want to say it was right in the middle of a housing estate, and we used to. And it was always one of those games you expect to win. In fact, I had a really good falling out with Dar Young up there because Tristan Bever, the old fitness coach, I'd miss a couple of kicks. It was windy. There was a big slope there, very tough conditions. And I missed a few, and he said, "I'll give the kicking to," I think it was Nick McLeod or whoever it was. And I said to him, "Tell that person to F off. I'm going to carry on kicking," which you can imagine went down really well with Di post-match when we had lost as well. So,
well, I'd like to have seen how did that conversation go?
Well, I just avoided him.
Yeah,
I did the manly thing. Obviously, anywhere near the big man. So that
is fair. Well, there's never a shortage of things to talk about when you get two blokes that love rugby in a room together. We'll talk mostly about the Blues. We've also got the backdrop of the Autumn International Tournament, which is probably best glossed over. But when you're looking for something to talk about, let's talk about the exciting Blues back division.
Yes, let's.
That'll be something more positive. So talk us through, because this is obviously your area of expertise. Halfbacks look exciting, don't they? Thomas Williams and Jared Evans.
Yeah, they have it. Look, and Jared has been excellent this year. Obviously, really disappointed that he didn't get the squad. And I think the first game after that, the Connacht game here, I think he was Blues' top carrier in the back seat, and he made 3 or 4 line breaks. And he's been excellent. We all know he needs to develop other parts of his game, but his running game is still excellent. Hopefully, the hip injury, which kept him out of Leinster last week, was a wise call on his behalf, and he's ready for tonight. But obviously, having Thomas back as well, who got injured against the Scarlets at the start of the season. Those two are really exciting, and if we get some platform, then those two can cause some problems. And then I think Ben Thomas as well was excellent last week out in Leinster, really good, made some really good breaks, and he's developed really nicely. Him with Ray as well, I think is a nice centre partnership, and obviously Nipper Matthew at 15, and Owen Lane, who scored a great try against Benetton here 2 weeks ago on the Monday. And Alison Summerhill as well. So we've got backs, haven't we? We have them for a few years. We just need to get some good ball, and to be fair, conditions will suit it a bit better. It's a lovely evening for rugby. We often
try and describe the surroundings. We are in Newport, of course, so we have to kind of paint it up a bit and embellish the picture. But it's a familiar old ground, so it won't take too much describing for any Cardiff fan. It looks pretty much like it does on full match day. It's mostly empty. The old Hazel stand over there still has our broadcast colleagues. I bumped into Nick Webb, my former colleague at the BBC, and Stella Steele apparently is hosting a commentary with Nick Williams. So the night is mild. I would say I don't think it's very cold today.
No,
I think it's nice and mild. I don't think there's any wind either.
No, it's actually a really nice condition. Probably a little bit dewy on the ground, but actually as good as you'd expect or you'd want it to be for an evening kickoff. I did tell you the story before we came on air, Rick, about Nick Williams. I've done a few commentaries with him, and he sat there the twice I've done commentary with him. The chair he sat on, he's gone to the same chair he's on, has given way and collapsed on him mid-game as well.
No, if it was me, you'd laugh. But if it was Nick Williams, did you laugh?
Well, I'm trying to help him.
That's dreadfully unfortunate, these substandard chairs.
He just kind of hooks you back on and carries on. I think because he's, to be fair, because he's obviously a big man, he can't really fall through the chair. So when he goes a little bit, it's not as if he hits the deck or anything like that. Kind of gets squashed in there a little bit. So
back up again, like
he's fine,
in his playing days. We miss him. I mean, you're talking about, we're always very excited. Let's not put the backs to bed yet, because there's Aled Samil taking the place of Hallam Amos on the wing. That's a fair call, I think, isn't it? On form. Could there not be a case made for shoving Hallam to fullback?
I think Aled has been a really consistent player, and I guess when you look at some of the back three and some of the names that have been around, obviously with Josh Adams and Jason Harries as well, that Aled sometimes always gets overlooked a little bit. But I think he's an excellent finisher. He does a lot of work off the ball as well.
Did he start off as a scrum half? Back at some point, or am I just dreaming?
I think you made that up.
Okay,
yeah,
fair enough. I do a lot. I'll do a lot if it gets boring.
Well, if he was, and I'm not. This is not anything against his passing, because he's a fine passer of the ball and everything. But I wouldn't ever put him down as a scrum half, if I'm honest. And I say that to his face. And
I don't know.
You're right.
I just think maybe he might have. But
you're not thinking of Rob Jones, you? Because he was a scrum half.
And Shane, Super Shane,
Shane Williams.
Super Shane.
Yeah.
But we're spoiled for scrum halves here in Cardiff at the minute, and Brynmore's boy getting reborn again.
I know,
that was a curious selection, wasn't it? You think?
Yeah. Has Brynmore got someone on the board? Does he know Wayne Pivac well, or has he got some stories?
I've no idea. But I mean, when he came in, he energised. That he came on and he picked up the pace and he made Wales look a different time. And that's largely what Pivac type of rugby is quick. Move it quickly.
Because you look obviously with the injuries to Thomas and then Reece and Gareth, where there's a few bumps and bruises there, and probably a little bit of lack of form. I think against Ireland when he came on, he did really well. And what you'll always get from Lloyd, what we've seen for years with the Blues, is he's got one of the best passes I've ever played with as scrum half, and I've been lucky enough to play with some wonderful nines. But his service is excellent. Both footed kicking, so left and right foot. He's got and game awareness is very good. So you're not surprised he can slot in and play international rugby, because he's got that talent. And in some ways he's been a bit unlucky that he hasn't played a bit more throughout the years.
I don't know if he still lives in the posh Canton area
you reside
where I reside.
Yeah.
But when at the peak of his career, when he was really back when he was in the World Cup squad, 2011. Yeah. I would see him and his brother, and I'm not joking, when I was taking the boys out, because they just don't see him and his brothers out on those rugby pitches in Landau Fields, box kicking, goal kicking, but doing loads of box kicking and kicking practice. They didn't do too much passing practice because I didn't just want to, but kicking. I would see them out a lot. Now they must be doing that over and above what they would do in their own their own training anyway.
That's just ingrained into them, isn't it? From years and years in the back garden, probably with But Lloyd is an excellent professional. He's great around the boys because he's such a good lad, and so he's great on team socials as well. Probably like his dad. Well, not that I know him being in a team social with Brynmore, but
they would be ones you wouldn't forget. Right there would appear to be a minute's silence. Beautifully observed. I'll try and find out for whom we were observing the minute silence. I'd be surprised if it was Maradona, but the game is about to take place. And I have to say, look at my beautiful colour-coded. They've done it to me again. I expected the Blues to be playing in a predominantly white and blue kit, given that Glasgow usually play in that sort of. And on the Glasgow website, they were all in black today. But they're playing in white and light blue, and so I'll obviously I get the names wrong all the time.
Is he going to throw you?
It's much easier, and the only work really that I do now is for the Blues. So I'm starting to recognise most of the players anyway. So it'll. But if I was 15 minutes into a game between Pontypridd and Merthyr last year, before I realised that I was calling the team.
Really? 15 minutes and no one else had noticed.
Well, David Lockyer got the ball. I was going, David Lockyer, when did he sign? When did he sign for Merthyr?
Lots of transfers going on in the Premiership.
Merthyr, for some reason, played in black and white, and Ponty were playing in yellow. Anyway,
Ponty in yellow, yeah.
The game is off here at Rodney Parade. The Blues are playing from right to left. So they're playing from the Newport clubhouse end toward the Pill end, or the Transporter Bridge end, I suppose is the best way to describe it. The Blues playing in their predominantly dark blue kit with light blue fronts. Glasgow are playing in a very, very nice shade of blue of their shorts, and then everything else is white. Odd looking kit, really. It looks a bit French, doesn't it? Like, I don't know, who played?
Bayonne would be
Bayonne,
Bayonne, very Bayonne colours, yeah.
But the first set piece of the game has been won by the Blues. They get a bit of a shunt on 10 metres into, and that's got to be a penalty.
There we go.
Absolutely.
Well,
Glasgow brought down that rolling maul. Ben Thomas has a little shimmy and go on already. Right through the middle goes Alid Summerhill. Gets the pass away to Lilo. Lilo peels around the tackle, hops it, and the penalty comes again for an infringement at that break of play. Sensational opening from the Blues.
Exactly what you want. Good take from the Blues forwards. Driving Moore went well again, which it did against Treviso a fortnight ago. Set piece is very good. And then Blues the back line have a free play because they've got advantage. So Ben Thomas, and this is where Ben Thomas is really good at his ability to take the ball to the line and pull out the back to Jared. And again, Jared held on for as much as he could to try and pull in the defender. And Alid Summerhill, we've just been speaking about, nearly bust through. And if he had broken that tackle, then it probably would have been a try, because then you're kind of 2 or 3 on 1 with the fullback to beat. But good scramble defence from Glasgow.
Would have been in your day, Nick, when people could execute
the old 2 on 1.
These days, we despair, don't we, viewers? We despair for the ability to execute a 3v2. So it's given Jared Evans an opportunity to get an early register on the scoreboard. He's about 15 metres in, just in front of the Hazel stand, about 15 metres into the Glasgow half. Very methodical, very purposeful. I think he's got it in off the post. Off the post.
Not his best strike, a little low off of it.
He's not been kicking. There's a couple. Well, the last game here against Benetton, he kind of scuffed a couple. I think he got one off the post. Ultimately, it didn't matter. That'll settle his. Well, I don't think he has nerves, does it, Jared Evans? But that'll be a little settler for him.
No, good one. Always nice to get the first one, especially if you haven't hit it right, just to get it through the post or off the post and in. That relief is always nice to start the game with 3 points. Exactly what you want to start with.
Pete Horn then wearing a skull cap.
Yeah,
Axelar's wearing a skull cap.
He doesn't know wear a skull cap, does he? He hasn't recently. I've noticed.
That is, his dropout has been caught by a fullback wearing a skull cap, and he always does. Nipper always does wear a skull cap, to be fair. James Ratty carries well about 5 metres outside of the Blues half. There's a very vigorous counter ruck from the Glasgow tight head prop.
All for nothing as well.
Pieretta, yeah. They've extended the ruck, and Thomas Williams, a long, I'm not sure we can call that a box kick, it was so long. Oh, fantastic work by Horn. Like a latter-day Phil Bennett steps through a sea of weak blue tackling and hands off to his number 8, Ryan Wilson. And now they come to the right, approaching the 22. They've got numbers. Alid Summerhill did very well to read that, coming off his wing and snuff it out, but the danger is not gone yet. Peter Horn, who started it, has carried it in to the Blues 22. Big carry by Aki Suli. And the Blues have just about managed to rally themselves and regain some sort of defensive line. And as I say that, though, Thomas Gordon burst through a half tackle. Cieli, the loose head prop, goes again. They make yards with each carry, and the Blues are in a bit of bother here, but their defence has been one of the strengths of their performances so far this season. They really have been quite hard to grind out. Well, at home they have anyway.
Yeah.
They've been breached a little bit easier away. That's a fantastic pass way out there onto the left wing to Tagive. I think it was Ferguson that threw it. I'll let you call it. My eyes are dreadful, and this is sort of looking through double glazing on a foggy evening. Glasgow still in possession. I'm not sure what phase we're on now, but the Blues' defence is superb. They managed to hold firm until eventually the ambition of Glasgow proved their undoing. There was a forward pass. Great defence. Good play, though. Good start to this game.
It was. Glasgow kept the ball well. Blues defence, especially the goal line defence, once they get into their own 22, has been excellent this season. Even last weekend against Leinster, I know conceded a lot, but we made Leinster work really hard for those tries, even goal line, really getting every inch out of the defence we could. And actually what helped there, Glasgow made a really good break, and the Blues were struggling on the far side. And Glasgow had good numbers there, but they decided to go through the forwards and carry and then pick and go. And that gave the Blues defence a chance to reorganise. And then when they went wide, it was a good wide pass. But actually, and this annoys me, you carry and give the backs less space, then give them the ball. And actually, they wanted the ball when there was another 10 or 15 metres. It's easier for the Blues defence. If you've got 4 defenders in a 15, 20-metre channel, you shouldn't get beat. I know we did last week after about 30 seconds when Lane made the wrong call. But actually, if you should back yourself, 4 defenders, you can block that off. 4 of you should be able to do something there. But actually, the Blues defended it really well. And I think to not give away a penalty, sometimes you get lazy and offside penalty, give the opposition 3 points. It was encouraging defence. Richard Hodges would be delighted with that first kind of set of defence where they did get broken to where Peter Horn went through and offloaded, but scrambled well.
Fantastic sight of the first set piece of the day. To ground it goes. It was taking a little while to set, which I'm pleased to say, because it's given me time to change the colour coordination.
You are changing them,
well, I have to, because otherwise I'll just make it.
I'm terrible on those. It would take me 3 hours just to open an Excel thing there.
Well, I've been, I'm rubbish with the names at the best of times, but I like to try and give the impression that I try to be a bit professional.
Decent kick from Jared as well, up to 10-metre line.
Good clearance. It's this next sort of what we were talking about last time with Shank. Well, Tom, I shouldn't call him Shanks. I said, well, yes, we can. Not the BBC. Now we can use nicknames with Tom. Saying how Jared needs to, there's no question about his ability. But it's his game management that he needs to work on a little bit. And it's in these areas of the field now. How is he going to get us into the areas for us to attack?
Well, this is where Thomas will hopefully get his box kicked, which is a decent one. Yeah, he's given Owen Lane a chance to get the ball back.
And he's got it back. Yeah. And now it's broken beautifully on the halfway line. But now if Matthew Morgan can get that away, then Aled Sumhill, is off to the races. He's a little bit isolated, and the defence by Glasgow was good. Dragged him down, was going to take Sumhill into touch, and in his desperation, he's thrown the ball back in field, and that's resulted in Lee Jones picking it up and that launching a counter-attack for Glasgow. This is breathless stuff and absolutely delightful to watch. Oh, and Owen Lane's taking one off the shins. He's nubbed it forward, and he gets a consolation pat on the back of his head from one of his teammates who's really inside thinking, you donkey.
Yeah, mate, never mind, forget about it. Yeah. Do you know what? It was such a bad kick from Nick Grigg. I don't know what he's trying to do. He's trying to go cross field when Owen Lane was back there anyway, and he pretty much shinned it. But unfortunately, it's trickled along the floor to Owen Lane, who's tried to pick it up, knowing there's probably a decent opportunity to counter-attack.
I think he was salivating. I think he was salivating, thinking, if I've got this, I'm away.
Yeah, but he didn't. And now it's somehow sometimes it is the worst kicks end up getting you something from it. So,
second scrum of the game. It's in terms of the width of the pitch, it's in the same position in terms of the width, but it's about 20 yards.
But this is a great position to attack because Owen Lane has to stay on the blind side. Glasgow brought their winger across, so they've got a full back line. Thomas Williams is going to have to help Jared out on the inside.
Owen Lane is quickly into sort of a sweeper position. Oh. Who was that on the crash, and who was that did very well? It was Ratty that stopped. It was Gwilym Bradley that stopped him. But they're getting through. The first up tackling needs to sharpen up a little bit for the Blues because they're just getting 3-4 yards with each carry. Now, Horn looks to get a bit more width on it. Jones is pulled down. He's knocked it forward under the pressure of the tackle from Summerhill. They exchange views and a little pat on the back. He's a stocky old thing, isn't he, young Grigg?
Yeah.
He looks like he should be playing rugby league and probably as a hooker, I'd say. If he's got that much of a baller that you can play him at centre, then he looks as though nothing would get through him, but stuff could get around him.
Yeah. The good defence actually from Bradbury, the young open side side. That was because we were worried. She said about you have to worry about the width, but Glasgow brought Grigg back on a switch play, almost trying to get into that transition between where the backs are maybe over chasing the forwards or the back row are a bit slow. But Bradbury was there and met him. Decent tackle, but then off that they got a bit of quick ball and got behind the Blues. I think it was a penalty for offside, wasn't it?
There is. And I have to say that in all the excitement, I hadn't spotted that. So
yeah, that's fine.
Good.
Teamwork.
Yes. The 3-0 lead is likely to be eroded. Left foot kick, no run up at all these days. He's hit the post. They're good at hitting the post.
Yeah.
Lilo has picked it up. Steps through the first tackle quite comfortably. The second one pushes him back a little bit, but the Blues are 5 meters inside their 22. Good carry by Ratty. He's looking a good player, this chap.
Yeah. This could be trouble.
Now that is a problem because I think that ball's playable, and I'm not sure why he has to turn to the referee and look at it. I would have had.
Because they do now. Because
they just can't believe it's there. Just take it.
Yeah.
Up from fullback is not up from fullback. Bryce gathers that. This has already been a problem. So we'll come back to that in a second. It was Peter Horn that danced through with the first kick chase early on, and now Bryce has done the same thing from fullback. The Blues are inviting pressure onto themselves, and eventually it'll make life hard for them. Although they are defending it well. The play has been brought up now into the Blues 22 meters. They're right in front of the post, and they're coming right away from the Hazel stand. Good gap opened up. What a great tackle by Jared Evans. That was very, very important on Ferguson. Just dragged him down. We're in the 15-meter channel. Now they have to switch it to the right. Good carry by McDonald. Presents it back to Kennedy. Again to Horn. And the carry by Grigg is solid. Good defense, though. Murphy first to show there. They go wide again. Now they're bringing it back to the right. Another good carry by Bean. He's a good runner. See what I did
That's
there?
it. I think we all saw that one coming.
And unfortunately, that pressure has led to another penalty at the ruck. He won't miss this one. This is bang in front. It's on the Newport. I think Newport playing Salford City. I think, judging by the signs that were all up around the time. So that must have been yesterday. And the 18-yard box is clear here today. So Peter Horn will be lining up this penalty, but not on the penalty spot, sort of halfway between the penalty spot and the edge of the 18-yard box.
A gimme, they'd say. You would have thought.
It would be a gimme, yeah.
But again, that's the second time that the Blues defence has been broken off kick chase, isn't it? Bryce this time getting through.
We've got a couple of questions from the audience. We'll come to those in a second, because I want to ask you, as a kicker, and you were a good kicker, the two-step run-up. Did you transcend the era of the old round the corner, 5 back, 2 to the left,
side.
And then
it's 4 actually, 4 to back to the side. I tinkered with my run-up, looking for positive outcomes on a weekly basis, as lots of kickers I think do tend to do.
This would be all biomechanics now, wouldn't it? And I suppose someone's biomechanically realised that you don't get any more power by running up from. No. Do you remember Phil Bennett's run-up when they beat the All Blacks? If you remember in the black and white, the famous game.
Well, I remember Paul Forward
when they used to point it, and he took like a 15-yard run up and just boom, walloped it.
It's very much all about your stride into the ball. It's like a golf swing. So it's about kind of whatever you do. It's all about this kind of your 2 steps before you get into the ball. That's where you generate your power. So you look at
beyond 2 steps. There's no greater.
Not really. It's all about the rhythm of you getting there, whatever you want to do to get there. So Obviously, Wilkinson was a very short run up, but was quite quick into it. Whereas others, Percy Montgomery was one very similar to that. When he kicked, he was very much a two-stepper like that. So, look, it's however you get there.
Okay, so the question, a little bit related to that, because we're talking about Jared Evans, who's a kicker, but Glyn Towler wants to know, could Jared play at inside centre?
Yeah, he could do. I know they've tried to, when Tuvey came, I think it started last season, which is about 3 years ago now, isn't it? It feels like. As the Blues are,
that's what he's done. There's a great bit of space for Owen Lane to run into. The inside pass was to Thomas Williams, and it was a poor pass, you'd have to say, but is it a poor pass because Thomas Williams had overrun him?
Well, yeah. Look,
it's gone behind his head.
Yeah, we talk about Jared, and that's what he can do so well. They did the similar type of move in the first half, where Ben Thomas passes it out the back behind Ray Lilo to Jared Evans, who catches it, and he just holds the ball, and waits for Owen Lane, who then hits that line and goes through. Owen Lane has tried to get to Thomas Williams because scrum halves always are offside, chasing on the inside, but I think because there was a covering defender in between, he's tried to thread the ball. That might have been one way you put it on your foot and try and grubber it through and let Thomas chase it then. Because I think he's trying to get it to him. But you're right, it was kind of high in behind his head there, wasn't it? But again, and that's what the Blues attack has done this year, so consistently. Our first phase, I think it's Leinster, they broke them a couple of times, and they are very good at that. Back to the question on Jared, could he play 12? Yes, he could do. I think if the Blues found a 10 that could play 10 that they felt could work with him, I think they would do. That second receiver.
I mean, currently there's no need for him to, though, is there? Because you've got, if Willis and Ray Lilo remain fit, then you've got a really, really effective centre partnership, and you've got Jared as a really good 10.
Yeah, and you've obviously got what we've got now with Ben Thomas, who is almost playing into that, because he is a ball, because Ben Thomas played a fair bit at rugby at 10 as well. Yeah. So he can, and he's done it twice already tonight. He's taken the ball to the line flat, and he's looked to give it to Ray Lilo and giving it back to Jared. So
okay, well, let's ask Glyn Towler what he thinks of that reply. Does he agree? I would imagine he thinks he probably could if he posed the question in the first place. We've got another question we'll come to in a minute, because the Blues have possession. They're inside their own half. Wallop. He rather enjoys that, does old Ray Lilo, taking it on the smash, and he's very good at it, but Glasgow are equal to it at the minute. And I wanted to talk about the fact that the Blues have put themselves under pressure with the poor kick chase. And now they've had a turnover on the halfway line. So they're making, it's all around the halfway line. And it's this middle of the game, middle of the pitch problem that they've got. They've managed to get themselves a penalty there from the scramble defence. But just come to that for me. But first of all, am I wildly off base? Well, I'm just thinking about it. The couple of times they've kicked, it's come down on the halfway line or 10 metres into the Glasgow half. Peter Horne cut them apart. Then Glenn Bryce cut them apart. And then they got turned over. And so they're good here. They're good defending. They're good in their own 22. They've got that. But it's this middle of the park that they seem to struggle a bit.
And sometimes that is the thing where players almost switch on and a bit more desperate in their 22 because they know a missed tackle, something there is going to lead to a try. Whereas sometimes further up the pitch, you maybe relax a bit more. Now, the two from kick chase, they would be disappointed with because that's stuff you tend to practice and should be trying at, that people shouldn't cut through. That one there turned over. It's the same move they've done twice before where we said Ben Thomas has gone up the back. This time he's gone, I'll give it to Ray short. Unfortunately, they were waiting for him. So the play was, it is easy to say in hindsight, out the back. But Ray's carried again there. But look, you don't want to get turned over around the halfway line.
No, and it's reasonably quick. It's not the quickest, but it's quick enough for the ball to be shot quickly through the hands of Evans and then Thomas to Summerhill. Summerhill takes the tackle. The ball from the resulting ruck comes back inside, carried up by the heavy brigade, but turned over again, basketballed out of that turnover. And Glasgow now 10 metres inside the Blues half and looking threatening again. That's the prop, Seuli, showing a lovely pair of hands at first receiver, which enables the outside back. I'm not sure who was put the kick in.
That was Peter Horne, I think. Left side to Peter Horne, yeah.
But if you got, was that planned from a turnover that the loose head prop would just pivot it back to?
Well, they have to. That's what they do. That's what props need to be able to do that.
Brilliant.
And to be fair, sometimes turnover, if you can get that.
But you ask the outside half to go in and scrummage on the loose head, and it would be a different.
Never been asked. Never been asked.
But you can put you can get me to stand at first receiver and flip one back to you. Just doing your job over and over and over. Props. The best players in the world.
The best paid players in the world, definitely.
And rightly so. Right, the Blues have got possession inside their own 22. Thomas Williams in a clearance kick. No attempt at the box. That was just let's get out of here. Let's get some pressure off. But it will be a line out. It will be just about 10 metres outside of the Blues 22, round about at the end of the Hazel stand. For those of you familiar, have you bought your own coffee and drinks?
No, it's water.
Did you have no
water?
Did you have no faith in the Uber Eats?
Like, look at that.
Sponsors. They provide us with everything. If we wanted to, we could get some Starbucks or anything delivered by Uber Eats.
Could we?
We
can we? Can we? Flat white would be nice.
We get a nice flat white. Actually, we'll send word out to get coffee.
Yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it?
We'll get an Uber Eats coffee. There's a pizza in there. We'll have it at half time.
Oh,
although, of course, I'm on a diet.
Yeah. What are you?
Yeah.
You don't need to.
Lockdown was not good to me.
Oh, I think.
Well, we're locked down. It's all locked. We're back in lockdown. Oh, look what's come out of the magic Uber Eats.
The pizza. Look how quick that was.
Yes, it's fantastic.
Not as quick as that in Cheltenham, let me tell you that.
That's the service that's delivered to you by Uber Eats.
Yeah.
The steam is rising from the. To be fair, the steam was rising from the two sets of packs from the very first scrum. Turnbull picks up at number 8 and supplies Lilo. He'll just do that all day, won't he? Really,
He
just loves it. Thomas Williams at the back of that rug. That's a nicer position to be kicking in. He's not looking for touch there. He's found the winger Tagive over on the left, and he loves running. That's a high tackle. I think it's going to be. It shouldn't be in my old-fashioned way. I don't believe that's a high tackle because that one there is equally as high. They've been held up.
There
Good work.
You got
good work
your
by
wish,
Ratty and Bradley. I didn't want it.
No.
It
was nice to be right though.
I just guessed it would be called it.
No, I thought the first one looked it as well. The Glasgow bench thought it was, but they're on the outside as well. Oh, good tackle, Jared.
They're still coming. I mean, this must be the penalty advantage coming.
They're on a bit of a roll, Glasgow.
Yeah,
and Alice Samuels blitzed up.
Well, he's okay though because Jones has gathered that Samuels was there. He was able to read it. I'm not sure it was the best option, if I'm honest.
Oh, well done.
Like you said, oh my goodness, looks like the Dragons are in with a win.
They did win today, yeah.
Just checking the.
To be fair,
if I get the website up at the same time, I don't have to keep pace with the scoreboard. That's a good thing. Yeah. That's technology.
It feels as if the Glasgow are a bit of a roll at the moment, aren't they? They're just kind of getting too much good ball, and a couple of times now after kick receipt again, that Blues are just struggling to slow that ball down. And what Alice Samuel did again, we saw it on pre-match, but defensively, a few times he's been caught a bit short, but he's shot up and left a load of space and players outside of him. And this is what lots of good wingers and centres will do, is go, well, go on then, there's space there. But the only way of really getting there is either lobbing over the top, which gives you time to get across there, or kick it. But Horn put a bad kick in. If you put a good kick in that was in front of Jones, then I think the Blues were really struggling. But the fact that they went almost backwards, again, gave him time. And then he got back and made the tackle. But the Blues are they're digging in, aren't they? They're clinging on. It's 3-3, isn't it? Yeah.
But you can't cling on forever, can you?
It's just we can't. We almost need to get clear to halfway and then get a penalty to be able to kick into their half to then get some. At the moment, everything is 22 to halfway, and which is great because that's where we're sat. We're sat in front of the 22. Yeah. Because actually, I can't see anything.
And in the second half, when it's all the Blues on attack, because they're going to have so much energy left after this. Yeah. I've got my Cardiff Blues top. I should probably take my jacket off. Show the full glory of the.
Did you get that? Was that signing on?
I've always had it in the cupboard. Although Bloomy might have offered me one an extra large one since the normal one that I had. Beautiful view of this scrum. It's right in front of us, and it is rock solid, and gives Thomas Williams a beautiful platform for Jared Evans to hump one 40 metres down the field, and it's been gathered by Lee Jones. and Lee Jones is gathered by the Blues pack about 2 meters into the Blues half. So it's just his familiar pattern. The Blues kick, Glasgow come back. That is the nature of rugby.
There we go.
Now we've got a
That's what we
penalty
wanted.
for not releasing. So this then is what you're saying. This is what we needed, a penalty
Was
to
that
get
our
us
him?
down there.
Yeah, this is exactly what we needed. Almost right. Well, now we can go on the attack because everything we've had has been trying to clear and then defending. So now we can actually get into the. Jared would be looking 22. Would you be happy with 22?
If I was Dimitri Ahip, who just worked my socks off to get that turnover, I'd be hoping for a line out on the 22. He's hooked it a little bit. And it's going to be halfway between the 10-meter line and the 22. But it's better than being inside your own half, waiting to do another set of 10 to 15 phases of defending.
I wonder if the Blues will try and drive this one and really.
Well, they did from the first line out. It's been taken well by Rory Thornton, who, for my money, was man of the match the last home game here. I really liked his performance. That's another penalty for mine again. The rest let it go. Chris Dacey, the skipper of the day, peels off down the 5-meter channel, and there's a penalty against him. Isolated, they will say, and holding on and not releasing. But I think there was a penalty for him collapsing the initial driving wall.
Yeah, he did. They had a decent roll on, didn't they? He's
it
gone
came
off
down.
the blind, but that's the problem once you do leave that ruck,
Then
the maul. Sorry.
Then it lets the ref off.
Well, yeah, and also you've got no support with you because the other blokes
They're
are still in the
still
maul.
in the-
So sometimes it's better and it does collapse. When you've got the ball in the back, you can then give yourself time to get some forwards round, or you have to go to the backs. But disappointing that it didn't lead to any phases at all off that. So again, back defending a bit.
But that's kind of like is. I suppose if we were still on the North Terrace at the Arms Park now, which is where we really should be spiritually, as a couple of fans having a pint, we'd be moaning like hell about that. You the bloody hell. We get a penalty, we get down here, and we're giving a penalty away in possession.
Yeah. We should just pass it along the line and scored in the corner, shouldn't they?
That's what happened. That's what happened.
Why did they do
Remember
that?
when Gerald used to play here and Barry? And that bloke O'Shea on the tight end, he was so great.
Not don't remember him at all.
Glasgow win the resulting line-out from the penalty that was conceded. The Blues are competing very well with them. They're holding that up. Now they've given a penalty advantage now for swimming, I think. Coming round the side. He's waiting to give it, and he's giving it. Right, let's go and have a look, because there was a thing about advantage was one of the questions that came in. It's David Provis. What do you think about the advantage play now? Should a kick be your advantage lost?
Lots of refs do play it where they go, if you've kicked the ball away, then that's your advantage over. Definitely off knock-ons. I think that they are penalty decisions. Especially you're in the 22 when teams go for the chip kicks or crossfield kicks, I think they do seem to let it go on for a lot longer. And I think it's always a bit funny when the referee has to run back 40 meters and go back to a penalty spot. But I think I do agree with that one. Once you decide to kick possession away, that's your advantage over from lesser infringements. Penalty ones, not so much.
Oh,
good. Well done.
Well, it was yes, right, okay, we can describe what happened then. Good line out, good Glasgow set piece, good back peel, solid running. Looked like they were going through the worrying thing I was describing earlier is that their first couple of big runners are making 2, 3, 4 yards, getting in behind. I think it was that big loose head prop who I'm taking quite a shine to tonight because he's doing a lot of good work ball in hand, and he's got a bit of game as well. I think it was Aki Seuli, which I probably murdered in terms of pronunciation, but he felt the full force of one of the Blues.
Bradley again.
Was it? He's having a good game, isn't
he came round and he hit him, and they both kind of bounce off each other. But the force he hit him with, he picked a bit of a bump, but he's all right. But he dislodged the ball. So the Glasgow pack's big, isn't it? They're both in front of us, and there's some big old units in there. That
Bean is, all jokes aside, he looks a bit stringy. No, but he is really big. I mean, I'm sure if I go to the website, there'll be some stats on him.
But they got Ryan Wilson's obviously big. They've got the second rows are big.
He's such a new addition to the squad. They haven't got a photograph of him. He's 6'8".
Look at him.
6'8", 125 kilos.
Yeah.
It's even heavier than me. Well, he's stretched out. He's got a foot on me.
Another scrum.
There are some big boys. But I would say that Ratty's a big boy and Bradley's not. So there's a couple of big boys there.
The Blues haven't got, by the way. What do they need? Left footer. That's what they need for a scrum. This side of the park, left-hand side of the park, you're left footer. They've gone miss one to Ben Thomas,
who's
put
a right foot. That's a good
that
kick.
Is a lovely kick.
He's cleared it from about 20 metres outside his own goal line into the Glasgow half. So that's fine insofar as it goes.
Perfect.
But it's going to give Glasgow possession.
Yeah, but at least it's in their half, whereas the others are maybe around the 40. Whereas so your mindset is when you're in your 40, so teams will often have plays in their own 40, which is clearing plays, and then between the 2 10-metre lines, they'll have some other ones, which maybe a bit more drive and then maybe box kick. So this is where they're actually not thinking about attacking so much, or they come off the top and then just going to kick. Whereas opposed, if they're on the Blues' 40, they're thinking right attack plays, which gives us a chance. Nipper gets a lovely high ball.
From that high ball, you're right. And if they can get it quickly, but they can't, it's a bit slow.
That's a penalty because he's lying on the ball. You can't.
Now the ball's come out, and now he's going to let the Glasgow players get away with it.
He's messed. That's a shocker from Frank Murphy.
And the Blues,
and they've come in the side.
And now the Cardiff player's got his hands all over it, so that really should be a penalty because that's now a ruck and has been for about half an hour.
We're probably on the terrace now, aren't we? Just shout every time.
Every time, referee. Shake your head. Your eyes are stuck. Now there's a knock on and Jared Evans, and it's all, the Bean is high-fiving, McDonald, and they're all very, very pleased with themselves, Glasgow.
Do you know what does emphasise when there's obviously no crowd here is when the team get like that and they've done something well, turn the ball over, and them shouting, the bench shouting, it does kind of, you hear that, obviously there's nothing else to hear. So it does make a difference when the opposition really get into you like that. But that was, for me, unfortunately, it was all messy. Nipper took a really good high ball, caught it, the Blues had the ball, and then the ball didn't come out because there was a Glasgow player lying on it. So Frank Murphy let that go, and then the Glasgow players drove in, but they came in from round the side because it's clear because their players ended up almost as the Blues player would do. The Blues kept the ball, but it was all a bit messy, a bit rushed, wasn't it? A bad pass to Jared, with a low one. He dropped it, knock on. It was just a bit frantic, and you almost, I think the penalty of the Blues would have meant they're kicking into the Glasgow half, but there we are.
Instead, it's a scrum. To
you
Glasgow.
Haven't updated your score.
Well, I don't need to because I've realised I've got the.
Well, you lost it now.
Good point. Well, look at the match. Boom, it comes back up.
There we are. So just in case you've forgotten.
In a while
since the score. That's a good scrum from the Blues.
It is 3-3, and we should update the people at home. I keep forgetting that it's 3-3.
Well, that's a good kick from Horn.
Oh, that is a super kick.
No,
unfortunately, it was just. I think Tagive overran it. And he's a lump as well. There's some big people. I'm going to put my coat back on. It's quite parky in here. How do you feel? Have you got like some sort of thermal underneath? Okay, just
excited.
Make you hard. It makes you hard living in Chelmsford, Cheltenham.
That was, to be fair, if that would have been a perfect kick, and again, because the scrum is just to the right of centre, it means you have to defend both sides. So Alice, who was Owen Lane on that side, had to leave the space behind. But you always say to them, go on then, be good enough to kick it there. And he wasn't. The kick's got to be inch perfect, and he over-kicked it. Which you can do at this pitch, by the way, because it's deceptive, especially the side he's kicking to. You can over-kick them. It's not that clear.
It's almost needless to say now that Glasgow are in possession, because it has become
they're not now.
We've been turned over. Thomas Williams has noticed that there is nobody at home. But Owen Lane is, and it's bounced up beautifully for him, and he's going to take it to the corner. What a try that is! Absolutely out of nothing.
Never in doubt.
It should be taken for granted. The Glasgow have the ball. Oh my God! I can't score.
To try.
Hey! Well done, O'Shea. Well, talk us through that.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, that's all you need. Possession about 4.5 seconds, and you score a try. They've been defending about 25 minutes.
That is absolutely fantastic stuff.
I can't even see you turn the ball over, but Glasgow had possession. Blues turned it over in the ruck somewhere.
Right on the halfway line, wasn't it?
The great thing was, because they turned the ball over, the ball was then there for Thomas Williams, who then kicked it because there was space behind. and it bounced really nicely. But fair play to Owen Lane. He's gambled a bit, hasn't he? And it's bounced. I think he's flicked it up, caught in the second attempt, and scored. And that's exactly what the Blues deserved.
They're looking at it. They're looking at something here. There's some sort of TMO review. The referee is looking up at the screen. I'm not sure what. Unless Owen Lane has stupidly overrun it with his dive and not grounded it before he's got. I can't imagine what they're. Are they looking to see if he's offside? Are they looking to see?
Look at the tackle, aren't they?
Oh, really? Well, there's the turn.
There's a knock on. It's where there's a knock on from the Blues boys. Dislodged in the tackle. Oh, yeah, that doesn't look great.
Well, it looks like William Bradley dispossessed our pal Bean.
Mr.
Bean. Come on.
Great series. I used to love that series. And then he's unfortunately not. I think he has knocked it on as the ball was loose.
Well, they're all walking back, and I don't think there's been a kick taken, is there? So they're either coming back for the scrum. That's a nightmare. It was a lovely try too.
Yeah.
So we think it's been in the turnover, that it wasn't a turnover, in that the Glasgow ball carrier went into contact, had the ball stripped off him by Gwilym Bradley, but in doing so, he knocked it forward. Then the ball came back to Thomas Williams. Then he put in the lovely kick where then was nobody at home, that Owen Lane sprinted down the right-hand touchline, gathered it on about the 22 and sprinted into the corner to score, beating the cover. And it was a beautiful piece of commentary, and it was a fantastic moment, but it's all for nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Because of the TMO.
And do you know what? I think rugby we're not bad. I'm not talking about for long, but football is the goal disallowed. I mean, I'm a Liverpool fan, and watching the game yesterday, 2 goals disallowed. But I think it's just, and I've got a couple of young kids, I'm trying to explain to them why goals are being disallowed for offside and different things.
Do you see Patrick Bamford's goal disallowed because he pointed to put the ball there, so his feet were onside, but his hand was there. He said, "Put it there," and they put the ball through for him. But because his hand was offside,
I didn't see that. I thought it used to be that.
You thought it was your foot.
It used to be that any part you could score with. I think they changed it.
Yeah, that's right. We can't score your hand. You said afterwards, I don't know why that is. I can't score my hand.
They must have changed, haven't they? Is that? But the Mo Salah one yesterday was his toe was, and you're thinking, and kids like when they see a goal, and they've even worse in the stadium, jump up and down, it's a goal, it's a goal, it's a goal. Oh no, it's not. Oh, what do you mean it's not? What? And the whole thing of the sporting event and occasion scoring a try like that, is that kind of up? And then
is it?
No. Anyway, that's
it's
off my chest now.
Well, no, but it's good. It's a good discussion because they really are.
But I do think in rugby we're not. That was a knock on, to be fair.
I don't know who called it though. I would imagine the Glasgow skipper or somebody on the Glasgow side must have made them aware of it.
That, yeah. Well, so the Dan Bigger incident yesterday for Wales against England, which definitely shouldn't have been allowed when he was taken out in the air. Anyway, that wasn't looked at.
No. There's a couple of things that came off of that, but if we get a chance, we'll talk about it. In the meantime, with 7 minutes of this game to go, the Blues have turned them over again. I tell you what, I'm getting fed up with this ref. Seriously, now I'm going full in North Terrace because it's like any opportunity.
But he said that he said he didn't release in the tackle, and the ball came loose, so it looked like a decent Blues turnover. But he's said he didn't release in the tackle. And is it? No, who's down there? Let's see.
I don't suppose anybody who's watching this at home will be listening, but I'd like to know what people think of this referee. Pose the question.
Yeah, it seems that one was, seemed to be a decent turnover from the Blues. So I'm just having a look at the TV. I don't want to look and I can't see the screen's not that big here. Disappointing that, because it's going to be a decent shot for Horn now.
I didn't see the Scarlets game. Who are the Scarlets playing this weekend?
Did they play?
Did they play? Was it last week? I noticed there was a lot of. I've heard a lot of discontent.
No, Scarlets. That's the coronavirus.
Was their game at Ulster?
Last weekend, yes.
There was a terrible decision.
There was a red card decision. Or the red card that they should have been after 20 minutes.
And you got to take it all with a pinch of salt because we are just one-eyed. When we're fans and not professional broadcasters, we're fans. We do get upset. Like I'm upset with the ref here now. But
you are, aren't you?
Trying to retain. I don't have to. The lovely thing is I don't have to retain any degree of professionalism because this isn't coming to you on behalf of the BBC. This is brought to you on behalf of the Blues, sponsored by Aspen, Waite, Wales. and Uber Eats.
And Uber Eats. How long is that pizza still going to be warm? We're testing this bag out, aren't we?
Yeah,
It's still be warm.
It'll be fine, don't worry.
I wonder what's on there. Is it going to be a meat feast? It's going to be like a...
Mate, it's always just plain cheese. We'll sort that out next time. I want
cheese.
I want full pepperoni.
Yeah. If you're going to have it.
Have you had the one that's made by a different... Actually, no, because Uber Eats deliver. The Domino's one that's a quarter pounder cheese pizza.
Have you?
My one of my twin boys, it's his favourite one.
Quarter, was it?
It's like so you get meatballs and cheese and gherkins. It's like a Big Mac on a pizza.
On a pizza.
Yeah. It's like
do you know what? I'm not a big Domino's fan, I'm afraid.
I'm not hugely, but that in my mind is a tremendous combination.
I like more of an Italian
proper one, yeah.
A couple of steps.
Over she goes.
Got that one, don't we?
Yeah. So instead of winning, or leading rather, by the virtue of that Owen Lane try, the Blues as half-time.
And the Blues have made a change. Right? Corey Domachowski is on, is he?
He is, and he's on for. And our hip is there, so it must be.
Brad
Thyer's gone.
Brad Thyer's gone off. He was obviously down injured, so I don't know if that was a full one. I do think actually. How long have we got till half time? I can't see.
5 minutes.
Oh yeah, there's one right with that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
I think Blues would take 6-3 actually. The amount of possession.
I think they would, but what would worry me is what is going to change materially in the second half. It's not like there's a howling gale blowing down.
Well, you hope that you can get a bit of momentum in and a couple of decisions that your mate Mr. Murphy's.
Oh God! Dear Lord, they've done very well. Christian Dacey passed on a poor pass. It was even worse by the time it reached Matt Morgan, and he wasn't going to take that.
Some people say don't shovel on.
Yeah, they don't shovel on. Are we allowed to say shit? No, we're not. Okay. Don't pass on manure. And that was one great line of shoveling. And it ended up with Matt Morgan. And let's be fair, he wasn't going to take the hammer in. And I'm not sure who did in the end. Matt Morgan has it again now. In the kick exchange, Peter Horn on his 22 in the junction, the 15-metre line. Left-footed, kicks it back to Jared Evans, 5 metres outside of his on 22 on the 15-metre line. A lower, more scuddy kick that bisects Bryce in the 15-metre channel. And Horn, who's had enough of it and kicks it off the field. But he was in his own 22, so that's a reasonable effort.
Yeah, decent kick actually. I think Glasgow possibly just won that, but the Blues were under pressure and Ben Thomas did the right thing and put a kick in. And once you get into that battle, it is trying to stay patient and almost trying to win the distance battle on and push them further back. There's a game you used to play when you do some kicking as a practice game where you just literally try and boom as far as you can, and then once you're close enough, you have a shot at goal. Then
I remember playing a similar game to that.
Always quite handy. We got a big wind behind you. But Jared did all right there because he won his best kick, but it found a bit of grass, and then Peter Horn put it out
off the top from Turnbull to Thomas Williams and the Blues moving quite nicely now. This worked out.
That's a good kick. That's a good kick
for Owen Lane to chase again. And I don't think anybody would fancy the footsteps of Owen Lane echoing in their ears as they're gathering it in their own 22. If they can put some pressure on now, don't give a penalty away now. Make it hard for Glasgow to exit. They're 10 metres from their own line. They haven't had them here. They haven't had them here for the whole game. So don't make it easy for them. The ball is at the back of the ruck. 5 metres in from touch, right down in the corner by the changing rooms. And he's forced them to kick, and the kick is looking quite good, actually. It's made it out about 40 metres. It's been gathered, I think, by Morgan.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And the Blues ship it in field through the heavy brigade. And if it can come quickly, there might be an opportunity. Good screen pass around the back. Oh, Summerhill was just caught. He had Ray Lilo outside.
He did. I didn't see it, Ray. I think that should have given him, yeah.
I think he did, but I don't think he had to. I think that one's a fair one. They were so spread that by the time Summerhill had to evade that tackle, otherwise he was caught, but he couldn't. And he had Ray Lilo outside him. I'm not sure why Ray Lilo would be outside the winger. Explain that one to me.
Well, I guess from the initial kick back, when they've kicked,
right,
centres would work to the outside, and then wingers, because obviously Alex Summerhill is a back three, you would be closer. So when they run back, centres tend to go to the outside because they're not hopefully going to get the ball.
Right.
Glasgow missed touch.
They do.
Because that's a good kick from Thomas.
That is a good kick. Again, it's Bryce that's back there. He's caught it inside his own 22, taken about 5 or 6 paces, humped it high, no pressure on Matt Morgan. 15 metres inside his own half, ships it right into the middle of the field of Jared Evans, who takes a couple of runs, steps off his right foot into the tackles.
Oh.
Now Thomas Williams gets there quickly. It's been turned over, has it? No, the penalty is coming.
It was going to have to be a penalty to someone because the ball wasn't coming. So
I guess it was the tackler not. It was either the ball carrier not releasing or the tackler not.
Yeah, it was a 50-50 from what I could see there. But and those are the ones where Jared, he obviously is so good attacking, but it was a decent Glasgow chase, wasn't it? And that was only thinking, can you get your boot to ball? But anyway, he's carried and we've got possession. We've got
needs
penalty.
a big. Oh, he could have been more ambitious there because this is the last roll of the dice.
Yeah.
Before trotting down the tunnel.
But you're definitely one of those people that say, "Oh, he should be more ambitious," and then if he doesn't quite make it, you go, "You've got to make sure. You've got to make sure of it." Last play, you've got to make sure of it.
I suppose you just want to get the ball. You're right. You're right.
No, but I think 22 would have been a better one with 10 metres outside this one.
So what can you do about what centres do? Because I used to just go like this. So, trot, trot, trot. Trot, trot, trot. Blues have it off the top quickly. They're quick to get into midfield off the top of the line out, and they're quick to give a penalty away, which has been pretty much the pattern of play so far. And the penalty count would be prolific. I probably ought to keep track of such things, but I reckon it's in double figures.
We got like our stats man, like a TMS. We have like a stats man who comes up and says,
if we speak loudly enough, somebody might go on to Opta or what's it? Was it ESPN Scrum?
Is that good? Is it? Ultimate Rugby I use.
Ultimate Rugby. Let's try it.
I can get it. What's what?
Go on then.
2 seconds.
We got you here for something, haven't we?
Yeah.
Catch up.
You
got the app, have you?
Oh yeah, of course so. £10 a year. You can take that back to the business.
Absolutely. So how many penalties?
Oh no, we've got a season thing on there. They haven't got the actual things this season. Disappointing from the Blues though, by the way. First phase, decent ball off the top, and then get turned over because of bad support there.
And instead of being the last player of the half, putting pressure on Glasgow, making them fight, the pressure's now on the Blues to not concede before going in at half time. They are making it hard for them.
You shouldn't be giving away penalties off first phase balls in. Carry up, that's going to be your banker. We get possession. I don't know whether there's lack of numbers there or Glasgow are attacking that breakdown.
They are.
Every time they are.
If the Blues concede anything here now, I would imagine Mulvihill and the rest of the coaching staff will be absolutely incandescent with rage as we, we're in to the red zone of the half. The next error or stoppage or Blues penalty. No, actually, it won't be a Blues penalty, will it? Because that will continue there.
Yeah.
The next.
They're looking good in defence. Now we don't want to give a penalty away because Glasgow aren't going anywhere. As he says that, they probably.
It's a very, very good
Sorry
defense.
to break into the six.
Very good.
No, it's good defence.
They have defended well, and they do defend well, but you just don't want to do it all night, do you?
I don't know. England did it right against Ireland. 28% possession. They won 208 tackles against Ireland. Do you know how many tackles they made yesterday? England
2,
close.
4,
70.
43.
76.
Really?
So, and they made 208 against Ireland.
Well, that tells you a lot, doesn't it, about the type of threat that Wales pose these days.
Anyway,
it was a disappointing watch, I have to say, yesterday. But I switched over to watch Super Leeds defeat the Toffees.
Yeah, there was 50 shots on goal in that game.
Leeds are just doing my head in.
There we go. Blues have turned the ball over as well.
We generate so many shots at goal.
Give it.
That will be half time.
Thankfully.
Knocked on by Jared Evans on a turnover. The referee, Mr. Murphy, I'll be polite and call him Mr. Murphy, not. Well, Max Boyce wrote a song about them. I probably would be allowed to. Max Boyce wrote a song on, I think they've all got Doctor's Papers, got all his albums.
Oh, right.
Live at Treorchy. Well, that was his seminal piece. But there is a home for blind Irish referees that he'd set up as a charity.
Really?
Yeah, the home for blind Irish referees. Which it was said in fun. Please don't put any complaints in. There go the great and the good of the Cardiff Blues. Yes, sir.
Ollie Robinson.
Come in, Ollie.
Ollie, hello, mate.
Come and join the party.
Where do I get joy?
You
Move
can
up
know,
or
just stay there, Ollie. Come and stand in here. You can have a bit of pizza if you want. Good to see you, brother.
Good to see
You
mate.
may
You well?
remove your face covering if unless you know.
I need to move up this side.
Just on here.
We were just reflecting
Really not good for the
on the disappointment.
Oh, you're right, mate. You're right. No,
What's happening?
his hairline. Just now he's all right.
Couple
That's
years
what
left.
it's Scrum Hattie.
Exactly.
Scrum Hattie.
2-3 years left, I'd say.
Xavier Rush.
Speaking-
Xavier Rush.
Yeah, go see
Go
that.
see. Yeah.
A bit late for me now. My centre parting has fully formed. Right. Well, Ollie, look, we were reflecting on the game being that one thing we've been very happy with the Blues at home is, gee, they can defend.
Yeah.
They've shown that again, but we don't really want to be defending as much as that, do we?
No, definitely not. But actually, I think we've shown a couple of really bright spots in attack play. You know, Laney going through and just almost got into Thomas's hands, and I think I think Ben adds something different in the centre than Thomas.
Yeah.
And, it's nice to see him get his hands on the ball a lot, and yeah, we've got something a bit.
Yeah.
Nice.
You did say that.
Would you look at it?
I wasn't watching the comments.
No one is. Don't worry.
To be fair, the problem is when the Blues look good, it's been really quick. Isn't our first phase, second phase, and then we've lost ball. So then we're back defending again. And almost haven't been able to go through the phases like Glasgow have done.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of tackling. We haven't got our stats up just yet, but there's been a lot of tackling done in that first. So most of the ball was in this part of the pitch, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's been a problem for us for a few weeks now. It's something that we're addressing and we're trying to fix, but it's difficult, and they're a really good side, and I think some of the way they've attacked has been really good as well. I've been really impressed with them, and but again, it's we've defended well, I think, to keep them out. We've had to defend well because do some good stuff.
They seem to be attacking the breakdown a lot. Is that something that you noticed analysing them this week, that they are
Yeah,
outside?
well,
Obviously, I know we do a lot.
Yeah,
and-
well, I think that's something that Danny brought in. Danny likes attacking the breakdown, and they've put us under pressure. I think we'll be disappointed with some of our stuff there.
Yeah.
I think
that last one there, do you see the last play where we went off the top, Ray carried up and then turned over straight away off that?
Down there, didn't
Yeah, I know. It's just, but again, is that like the lack of numbers?
Yeah,
I know,
no, I
but they
think-
said to Rick they are really.
Well, it was from first phase, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
off the top of the line. Ray
Yeah.
carries in. You would hope you get it right off first phase.
it's a balance, isn't it? Somewhere we've been struggling the last couple of years. Our line out, and our line out's been really good this year, but do you lose something?
Yeah.
Supporting the first
The
phase.
set piece has been very good.
Yeah.
The line out, we haven't lost one. The scrum is solid.
Yeah.
The scrums in that fantastic game, best game of rugby I've ever seen, Ulster, when there were something like 503 scrums.
And I got
Right here.
Yeah.
I had the perfect sort. I mean, what was that game like to play in? Just scrum after scrum after scrum after scrum. It was mental, wasn't it?
It's ideal. Yeah, so it's nice actually. It's not raining for a change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last
Particularly in
6
Newport,
weeks, it's been
or Cardiff East, as we like to refer
Yeah.
to it. So right, second half. You'll have an idea what he'll be saying to them in there now. Will he obviously be upbeat because we were talking about, we kicked this off at the top saying, look, we haven't beaten these lot. Last 8 games against Glasgow, we've lost them all, which is probably not something that would have been focused on the pre-match. But that there is an element of that. But the positives, what will Coach Mulvihill be bigging up in there now?
Well, I think like Nick alluded to, that some of our first phase strikes have been really good, and I think just keep going to them. Don't get bored of doing the same thing if it's working, and I think if we attack outside 12-13 channel, I think that's an area where we've had a bit of success, and I think if we carry on going in that area and potentially attacking a bit wider off the first phase, but then making sure we get ourselves in and keep hold of the ball.
Because once you get hit in that 12-13 channel, or the 10th, that's when their back row comes into it. And that's when whereas actually you're right, we get outside of them. Yeah. That's when you can get
which we have managed to do a couple of times. Haven't we?
Yeah.
Managed it. We've had a couple of very early on. There was a great break when Alec almost got through.
Yeah.
But my worry always is because I haven't played the game for about 30 years, and if you do that much tackling, come the second half, you're knackered. Yeah. Is that a problem still?
It
even
is.
in if you're doing that much, relentlessly defending, particularly if you're a chunk, it just then the legs get a bit heavy, and it becomes hard.
It can be tough, but I think both sides will be feeling it. I think a few lads that haven't played a lot from both sides, and I think if the game will open up, and if you don't want to be defending Matthew Morgan when it opens up.
No, that's true. And on a surface, this is a good surface. To be fair,
exactly,
well, as much as we take the mick out of Robbie Quinn, it is a decent old track.
I do think actually it's only 6-3, isn't it? So it feels as if it's 16.
It does feel like that.
And actually defending, and you guys obviously tackle a lot more than backs will do. But actually, you do that, but then they don't score. Then you're right, isn't it? Then that's when it gives you the boost. And actually, then if you then manage to get a turnover and get a try, then suddenly that energy isn't so sappy.
We were an inch away, gets the floor without knocking it on, and we score a try, and it's a different game. It's 10-3 rather than 6-3 to Glasgow.
How did they? We didn't even notice that. We were talking about what a great try was. Hang on a minute, the refs have noticed. Oh, has he overrun it? Has he dabbed it down over the dead? What's gone on? But did they? Yeah, well, we saw the replay. It looked obvious.
He started really well.
He's young lad.
It's hard. Jeez, he's been doing that in training for the last 6 weeks.
So tell us a little bit about it.
Stay away from him.
When you take a word, when you take the side, mate, just let me know. Just lower him down a little bit, right?
Making some of us look bad. Yes, good. That's what I'm here for. Tell us a bit about him. I don't know an awful lot about him.
To be honest, he's a really young lad, and he obviously came and we had a bit of a, well, I say a crisis. All the lads called up to Wales. It's not really a crisis, but
it's good. It's nice crisis because they'll be coming back.
But obviously Jim, Shane, now all going to Wales, and he's come up and really stood out from the first session. Like I say, he's hitting people in touch games. And
where's he come from?
He's from England, so
right, forget it. Move on.
But he is Welsh.
Has he declared it?
Mum's Welsh.
They'll cap it next week. I tell you, on the subject of that, I'm absolutely. My friend's son had his cap last week, Yohan Lloyd. So Byron and I played together for a while. Yohan got his cap, and they weren't allowed to go and watch him play.
Yeah, he was in Saundersfoot, wasn't he, Byron?
Well, apparently he was in. I'd sent him a text. He was in A&E because Jack had appendicitis. Yeah. But so he watched it on his phone in the porter's cabin or something, streaming. But I think it's incredible that they won't let a family into a huge stadium to watch his son get your cap. I'm sure there'll be more for Yohan, but the first one is special, isn't it? I just think it's crackers. They let you and me in a box to talk rubbish for 2 hours, but they won't. People have known about me this for years, but I just. What do you think about that? I mean, I understand what the significance of what's going on, but you've got a huge stadium. I'm sure they could have made it COVID safe for a mum and dad to sit in the stand and watch their son, and all the families to watch their sons get their cap. Surely there's something to be said.
Yeah, well, I look after Yohan as
you're his agent,
players. So I know that.
I swear to God, I had no idea.
Yeah,
so
I did wonder whether that would have been the case if we could get parents in that, but
no. But Drakeford said no.
I just guess that. Maybe he didn't want to go. Maybe he didn't fancy it. Maybe. West Wales, Georgia. Oh, actually, I'm all right.
The irony is, I said, Byron and I played for Welsh students again. I said, right, the irony is there are more people watching us play for Welsh students than there will be watching you and get a full cap.
He played well yesterday, actually, with Bristol.
He's a good player. Where's he going to fit in? Because I was trying to console my mother, who gets very emotional about these things. We lost to England and lost however many in the last election. But they were talking about they talking about the youth coming through. I said, there is the youth coming through, but it's hard to lose a coach like Gats and Edwards and then it's hard to lose so many talismans in the space of Warburton's gone, Jamie's gone. There's a whole raft of great players. I mean, Jonathan Davis has not been around. Alan Wynne is moving forward and incredible. But how do you see the future of the Welsh team? Are you as optimistic as the Western Mail is in terms of all these young bright stars, or are we in for a bit of a period of, a couple of tough seasons of rebuilding?
Yeah, I think we are in for maybe a season of it. I think we're missing. You lose Ken Owens, you lose Navs, you lose Tipperick as well. John Davis is struggling a bit with his knee, and obviously he's out. So there's some key players, and then you take away.
But that was the thing, wasn't it? Because we were at a point where Ken Owens filled the gap that was left by Hibbard, who filled the gap that was left by Smiler, who was so there was a procession, and then Adam was, and then there was Gethin, and then there was a bit of a core, and you could change one or two, and one or two were coming through. But now the spine of the team, you know, the 2, the 8.
Yeah, but they're not gone
9,
though.
10.
They're like, be looking at Falatau is just. Toby's probably not playing great. He's I think better yesterday.
Just do the rest, couldn't he? You know, I just think. I mean, you could just.
He just had 4 months off, didn't he?
It's tough in international rugby when you get on a losing or any rugby. You get on a losing. You know, England lost 8 under Eddie Jones in a row.
Yes, wonderful.
I do. It's not. There's not. It's such a fine margin, isn't it? Regional level and international level more. So when you take a few players out, and then you have coaches coming in, and obviously the Byron Hayward thing hasn't worked out particularly well. So then just little things, and then there's obviously not the confidence in the team at the moment, and they almost need something to happen. I thought at the start of yesterday, like actually might give them something, but England are a team that they're almost like Sarries were 10 years ago, where they just go, we're not playing any rugby. Yeah. We kicked it 40 times. They kicked it yesterday, and then but they go in, well, we're better at the other bits, and the set piece is
that's
good.
Fine, and that's. I mean, that's largely what we were. That's how we were under Gatland. We're not going to play an awful lot of rugby, but we're going to be very hard to beat, and we'll still be running after 80 minutes, and we'll have a look at the scoreboard and see what the story is. Right, well, Ollie, thank you very much. Good to see you, brother. Take care.
Good to see you, pal. How's that shoulder? Are you back?
We'll see.
Too much Jacqueline, mate, see?
Exactly.
Too much Jacqueline. That's why I didn't do it.
That's gone. Yeah. Tell me first, I got 13 negative.
Right.
Cheers, mate.
See you later.
Cheers,
Thanks for coming
Good to see you, mate.
Rightio, the game has kicked off with a cheeky, it was a funny. Watch the funny. Watch for the funny. Watch the funny. So Peter Horn has started this second half with a funny, kicking it against the grain, and it's worked out for him because they've got a line out.
How many times you've gone, right, we're going to look to kick right, and then in the last second, going to twist left to do shit one. A short one, he said short one. But it was, and then it wouldn't go 10. You're like, oh, there we are. It's come down. Sorry, lads.
They've just
we'll go long next time. We'll go long.
They've just done it, and they've managed to somehow get possession as well. And so,
do you know what? The Blues are missing Ollie though. He's so good.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Good. Turnovers he gets, and his ball playing. He's
right. This is not the start to the second half that the Blues were hoping. So from the kickoff that they should have received, they've conceded a line out inside their own half, and they're now defending underneath their posts. And we noticed just how effective Glasgow were. We worried about how much defending Cardiff would be able to do. Well, they're being asked to do it straight from minute 1 in the second period, right under the posts, just carrying in pods. They're so far away, I can't see which numbers they are. That's our boy, Mr. Bean, just joining at the back. That looks like a ruck that's collapsed to the ground. And it's scrum half Kennedy. Pulls one of the big boys, says, get out the way. And he decides to flick it out to Horn, who steps off his right foot, runs back towards all the heavy traffic that was emerging from the ruck underneath the post. There's our boy Saeli, the loose head prop, carrying it on a peel to the right. And they try and get width on it. They fall out the first tackle. Has the ball been knocked forward? They look like they're up and over the line over there. Help me out, Nicky. It's
misty and a bit,
and I can't see what's going on.
The electronic advertising was bright white as well as you go. You can see that. I think that's the first tackle I've ever seen Ray Lilo miss, which he doesn't miss very many at all.
I think it was. It looked like it was. Was it our pal Grigg, or was it one of the?
Someone knocked. Here we go. We can see it on the TV. Yeah, Justin, he got his hands free, and there's a good tackle by. It might have been Summerhill again that made the old man and ball as he's about to catch it.
The problem is then that we're just confounded by the lighting, because the lighting in that corner is so poor that when we had the reverse angle on the TV replay, you couldn't see it. It was
just shadow.
Dark, So the shadow pulled down one of the Glasgow wingers. He knocked it forward. So the Blues, they're not in trouble yet. They've got a scrum, basically on the 5 metre line, about 5 minutes out from their own line. But the scrum has been impressive so far.
So the chat half time would have been, look, let's get possession, let's get into their half, let's play more in their half. And then first 3 minutes,
straight on
defend
the,
this
yeah,
in 22.
straight on the open line. You're like, oh.
I told you not to defend.
Yeah. But I mean, vague. I remember from all those things. I mean, chats weren't done in change rooms. I was playing. They were done
On the pitch,
they were done on
those
the pitch.
days, yeah.
And you know, you'd have, and then it's all straight out of your head. Then once you get back into the same state.
Oh God, we're in trouble here, I think.
There's a poor kick clearance, and it's Glasgow running it back with plenty of hands. I think Glasgow made a bit of a meal of that. I think they could have punished us a bit more.
Well, I think Greg, as much as he's quite physical, isn't the quickest, which is quite fortunate.
Oh no, the Blues have turned it over, and Owen Lane is no. If this bounces up for Lane, we could have some fun. It has bounced
he's
up
fallen
for him,
over.
but he had to stumble to take it. Oh, he's presented it beautifully.
That's offside. That has to be
Lilo is
offside.
there. Every single Glasgow player is offside.
Has to be offside. Surely there's a ruck.
But Mr. Murphy, the referee, says no, that's okay.
And the Blues get
And I'll
this.
allow this bloke to jump over the top as
Here
well.
we go. Give it to Matthew. Give it to him.
And there's the former head of sport at the BBC standing right in front of the commentary team as the Blues flip it out. I think we're going to get a try. Is that Chris Dacey? It is
Yes.
Chris Dacey. Captain Chris. Talk us through it, because I was trying to get Nigel Walker. He's just come back and said, I'm awfully sorry.
To be fair, well, so we'll go back to the side. The Blues turned the ball over, which you couldn't quite see. Some great offloading, a bit of backdoor passing, which Owen Lane kicked the ball through, bounced half nicely, caught it, but as he caught it, fell over. We all thought the Glasgow players were offside as the ball came shooting out.
Which they were.
Ball slid down enough, but still went to Jared Evans, who caught it behind a few of our attackers, crossed the field, gave it to Matthew Morgan. He then gave it to Aled Summerhill, who then got tackled and then left-handed, chucked it back inside, bounced pass, as we both know, is completely undefendable.
Yeah, well,
straight to Dacey, who picked it up, sidestepped no one, and managed to get over.
It was a Scott Gibbs type sidestep, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He stepped inside the man that may have been there, may not have been. But and if it has been Bill McClan, we said, and what is Chris Dacey doing there?
Yeah, correct.
I'll tell you what he's doing there. He covers every blade of grass, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Chris Dacey, and he was Johnny on the spot there, and that's just what the Blues needed, Frank.
That
just
was
a real shot in the arm to give them some encouragement to play. It was totally against the run of play, complete turnover ball. Owen Lane's a handful, and if it hadn't been.
That's over, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It is.
So that's going to push the
right.
score out to 11-6. The Blues have the lead for the second time in the game.
They do well to get to 11, to be fair, from 3.
Yes, they would. But that's very good. So it's 10, isn't it?
Well, you can give
It's 10-6. My maths was never my strongest point. Very good
just
English.
trying to watch the replay, but it was again. But Joe, this is why the Blues are so good, or can be so good, because they've got players who can create things. Owen Lane created from the turnover, great grubber kick through and regather, and then Jared Evans, he gets the ball, and I know some people go never run across the park, but actually that's exactly what you need to do at times. Get across, you get outside some defenders, you pull other defenders in, and then you can give the ball the right time to Nipper, who then fed it to someone.
I think you're absolutely right. You never say never at any point of life, but there are some golden rules that you shouldn't do, but there's always exceptions to it. And if you can run across the park in broken play, if you're scanning, because some of those runners shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
You can have a defender, someone like me who's out of position, go, well, I can just drag you this way, and the holes will then open up, or someone will step out of the line, someone will lose their discipline. But Jared Evans reads things so well.
Yeah, but he's so good, and he'll carry the ball with 2 hands. I know most players do, but he's constantly doing this dummy pass, like pump. So people will think he's going to pass, and he just holds on, and then gave it.
And he's strong enough to bring it right up to you and shake you off, and if he needs to know, it's good. I'm upbeat. I'm uplifted. After what was it looking like a shonky start to the half, now we got some set piece first, and we're so good at this. The Blues get it down to Lane, right down this right-hand touchline. Now that's quick ball inside to Jared Evans. Big carry by Thornton, none of the Blues players have had a chance to do much ball in hand tonight because they haven't had the ball much.
But what they did there is exactly what Ollie Robinson was speaking about, is this: if something's working, don't be bored of doing it. So they did the same move they did at the start of the game and went out the back again and got outside of Glasgow. Instead of hitting Ray up where we got turned over, just go out the back.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And get out wide, and that's where we've made yards.
Thornton has carried twice in these sets. Turnbull has just hit it up beautifully. Jared Evans steps off his right foot, thought better of putting Matt Morgan onto the crash ball, and I think that was probably one of his better.
Well, Matt was running the opposite direction as well. He just didn't help.
He would have gone, oh, that's a screen pass. That one's for you, Ali.
Yeah. You've got a bit of space on the left if you've got the back
there
as well.
Is. And that's a beautiful pass.
The physio's going to make a tackle for Glasgow.
This is fantastic work for the Blues. They're going side to side, probably around about phase 10, I would think now. Good play again. Good interplay. Now it's broken down. I think Dimitri Ahep, I'm not sure if he was meant to be involved with that, whether he was the runner or the dummy runner, but a beautiful turnover and pivot by Grant Stewart, the Glasgow hooker. And now Glasgow attacking down the channels. And we always have to chuckle when Ryan Wilson, who's about 8'12", decides he can kick. And he can't. And he's given it to Matt Morgan, who's danced around. I think he could... Surely there's some kind of intent when you stick your foot out to trip the fullback.
Correct.
So there must be some sort of remonstration to be done. But the Blues have exposed themselves a little bit here. That's a little chip and chase from Kennedy. Matt Morgan is back. He swiped him off, and now he's pumped it down the touchline again. And it's his opposite number, Glenn Bryce, who grabs it, chucks it into Peter Horn on the 10-metre line, and he's right in the middle of the field now. Now they've messed it up. Dacey is there again, like Johnny on the spot, and flips it up to Lilo. Now, if the Blues can get this quickly, there's a lot of heavy artillery.
Yes.
Well, particularly our pal Seuli in the middle of the field there. That's a good kick to the corner, but I'm not sure. I think they could have. Could they? Right, go on. Look. If you'd spotted our pal Aki Seuli there in the middle of the field, because that's what I was talking about. Right, you're going to run across the field. Have a look to see who's here. Oh, you're here. You shouldn't be here. I can punish you.
You don't look like you want to be
really close to you now, and hopefully someone will come in on my shoulder.
Yeah,
and I can either because he's going to want to smash you.
Yeah. I thought that was a chance to actually have a little go, but as well, the Blues I think were blowing because there'd been a lot of up and downs. I think Thomas thought there was space. He didn't quite get his kick angled enough, but you'll still take. They got possession inside the Glasgow half, but there was a chance. You'd hope that's when you want your Jareds or your Matthews. I think Nipper had a few runs, so it probably wasn't. As well as just saying, just give it to him. I think he's probably going to have had it 5 times already in this phase. So
give it to Rory. Oh, I've done it twice.
Yeah.
Thornton carried it twice in that session. But it's good to see because I don't think I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's the longest the Blues have been in possession in the
by a country mile.
In the 50 minutes of the game so far.
Yeah, it was good. It was just that one pass which Ahib dropped. But to be fair, it was one of these flat balls across 3 people that was down a little bit lower. And we all know
it was meant to have it.
It needs for props again. Not all, but lots of them, and I know that they don't like the fired miss one like some centres do. They like a gentle one that they've got a bit of time to catch. You don't want the oh god, the ball's on me, and it was a little bit low, and you knocked it on. But it did nearly open up for both sides there.
But talk me through Ryan Wilson and his succession of brain farts there. So first of all, he kicks it, a shocking, scuffed effort.
It should have been his left foot. Yeah. He's gone with his right foot. It's gone from the outside of his right foot into midfield.
And then Matt Morgan picks it up. You know, full of shame, Wilson has to follow up his kick.
Yeah.
Because he can't hide. And then Matt Morgan steps inside him and he just sticks his boot out.
Oh my God. Jared got absolutely nailed that.
He did.
Yeah, he did try and tip the old foot out.
Yeah.
And then a good footballer would have found that foot. Make sure his trail leg would have got caught on that.
Oh, look out, our Uber Eats have brought us some Starbucks. Fantastic. But it's black. And here's the milk. Here's the condiments. Thank you so much.
We didn't even have pizza, have we?
No, we haven't. We're so engrossed with the check. Do you want some milk?
I'd love some milk, please, actually.
Thank
you, perfect one, yeah. We managed to Blues actually.
Super duper.
The Blues try that same play again off the scrum. We got a penalty, have we? No, there. But actually, Glasgow the Blues have cut them 4 times, but on the 5th time, the Glasgow defence read it and managed to absolutely. I think it was Greg who smashed Jared. I think got half a pass away, but ended up with Glasgow possession, and now it's ended up with a knock on. But I mean. There's a saying, or me saying, they are my favourite biscuits as well, hobnobs. We're a family of McVitie's, so the wife loves digestive, the kids love a chocolate digestive, and I'm a hobnob man. Sometimes I go with the old ginger nut. The Army Navy of dunkers,
Yeah.
as Michael McIntyre again. Yeah, does tickle me with that one. I do love that scene.
Right, back to the action. 12 minutes in to the second period. The Blues are leading by 10 points to 6. You're watching the live stream coverage brought to you by Aspen, Waite, Wales. I'm Ricochet. This is Nicky Robinson, and we're having fun. It's a good game of rugby, despite the ref, who's doing everything he can to ensure Glasgow go 9 again.
All you want to do is annoy you tonight, Rick. That's all you want to do.
Now, Glasgow looking to profit down the 15-metre channel over on the far side. They didn't really get much change out of it. They were well met. They brought it back infield. They've been smashed back there as well. So it's slightly slow back football. Doesn't stop Grant Stewart trundling it up relatively effectively. There's our boy Wilson.
Keeping it this time.
Yeah.
Grubber was definitely on that one.
And instead, Peter Horn drops it onto his right foot down the 5-metre channel. Matt Morgan's across and is forced to concede.
Yeah.
A line out which Glasgow threw into. So that's the kind of game management, isn't it? So Peter Horn's right, here you go. Nothing on here. I'll just dab it down there and we'll go again.
Yeah. And it's one of those ones you will actually, if you dab it down into the 5-metre line, tackling with the touch, and you end up with the line out 5 metres out, well done. But the Blues, Matthew got across and put a clearance kick in. So it was almost back to the 22, and you back defence in offset piece, you should be able to stop that. So actually, it's when you get to 7, 8, 9 phases, that's when more mistakes happen. So actually, you say, well, the Blues are quite happy with that one. If you grub it through and you get to do that. Any other questions, Rick, as well? I mean, finally, if you get
more questions? Any more questions coming through?
Yeah. Oh, we got load. Too many, he said. Too many.
Okay, we'll pop a couple up if it gets a bit quiet, but things aren't quiet. It's a good game. Genuinely is. And anyone who's watching it, well, why would you watch it when you can listen to this live stream brought to you by Aspen, Waite, Wales? Because it's an exciting, real good contest, isn't it? You know, these sides are not phoning it in. They really are having a proper go at it. It used to be a criticism of the Celtic League, was it didn't seem to be as intense as the as the Guinness Premiership or the Gallagher Premiership, whatever incarnation the Premiership is. But no one's questioning the commitment of these sides tonight. Well, you be careful with that. Why would he be picking him up and dumping him back there? Just silly. Glasgow in possession, 10 metres in. I think there's a bit of a fumble at the back by Kennedy, the scrum half. Great pressure and counter-ruck. They're going to get something. They've got to get something. That's Searley. He's a good first receiver, Searley. Sometimes he carries, sometimes he passes. I like him. I just think, well, I would imagine that's what it can't be coincidence, or this is the first night that he's going to be the guy that they use as a pivot. So they stick him at first receiver. Sometimes he carries it, but he tends to be a bit narrower when he does that. When he's wider of the ruck, he'll flip it back. He'll flip it back to the second kicker, or he'll just, in that case, he'll just another runner coming around the corner. So he's a threat carrying it himself.
Good defence from the Blues again, though, because they forced Glasgow to grubber, and then Blues have got it this time.
And good work from Rory Thornton. He's really growing into this shirt, number 5, which would be good because we need Wales, both the Blues and Wales need some accomplished second row forwards coming through. And Thornton has been putting in some good shifts for the Blues of late. Glasgow in possession, returning a Blues box kick. Kennedy looking lively. Wilson takes it off his shoulder. Beautiful offload. And that's McDonald in full stretch. Right up now. Support run up to the Blues 22. Pivot pass to Wilson. Wilson goes behind. That's a huge screen pass out to the winger Tagive. And the Warriors have been arrested on the 22 again. The Blues defence holds firm. It has been absolutely resolute
that
all
has
night.
to be crossing.
Well, there was crossing, but it was a great pass out of that tackle. So credit to the Warriors for playing the referee. He'll give them everything. Now Glasgow are going to be up. Oh, he spotted the knock on though, didn't he? Yeah, got that one. Glasgow Glasgow still in possession in the shadow of the Blues post, bringing it to the left.
I can't
It's
see
dropped
the
there. Matt Morgan is back to cover the little grubber kick through. They knew they had an advantage coming for the scrum.
Is he going to knock on? Is it a knock on, or is he
given
giving
the
the red card?
It is. Or you might upgrade it. You might upgrade it from a knock on to a straight red. He's given a penalty.
There we go. That's what you're saying.
Seriously, he's upgraded from a knock on to a penalty. There must have been something else then in the play that was knocked on. It was an arm wrapping knock. The Glasgow were trying to get a pass out of a tackle, and it was a Cardiff arm tackling.
This is the new one, isn't it, where people are tackling, but you tackle, just extend your arm a little bit, so it's not as if you're trying to tap it down. But
well, then in that case, if he's saying it's deliberate, then he could. Well, then it's a penalty, isn't it? Then? Yeah. I don't think you can upgrade it to a penalty try as much as he would like to.
That Gwilym Bradley's off. Are they making a few changes, the Blues?
In the highly unlikely event of any Glasgow people or any officials of the Celtic League officials, I am joking. This is all just a bit of terrace banter. Cheap. Joke.
Every time.
Every time. Shake your head, ref. Your eyes are stuck.
That's what you miss about crowd in the game, don't you?
I haven't heard anything.
Not the atmosphere, it's the individual comments that you really miss.
There was a couple of times, obviously I used to love working for the BBC, but I used to miss watching the game as a punter with a punting hand on a couple of occasions, and I did do it. I loved it. Because it is just fun, isn't it? Just standing with a couple of mates having a pint.
No, Joy, I took my son to watch a game. He'd been to watch the Blues actually when we played Poe, right? And there was at the semi-final or quarter-final.
How old's your boy now?
6.
Right.
And he's been to watch Gloucester as well.
Okay.
But actually, I haven't actually been to watch a game as a fan, and I think I'm looking forward to doing that.
Oh, it's brilliant. Well, if you go with a group of your mates, and just have a couple of pints and watch the game and have a laugh. The problem is for you know what it's all about, and it's probably. You probably have empathy for the players and can't slag them off.
Wow. After a few pints, you definitely can.
Anyway, Glasgow kicked the penalty because it was right in front of the post, and it is the narrowest of margins. My master's quick. You just check that now. 6 and 3-9.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I've done a lot of maths recently with the boys, so I'm up to that. Otherwise, I
hope you're good at maths. And now I know you're Yoan's agent. We've got plenty of time, 23 minutes or 22 minutes and 42 seconds.
Play up here, couldn't we now?
We could. Something to look at. There has been another change.
Max Llewellyn.
Mason Grady, I think it is.
Sorry.
Coming on for...
Ben Thomas is off.
Ben Thomas has come off, so Mason Grady is on. And then Kieran Asarati, I think, has come on, isn't it?
Yeah, and Ethan Lewis is on. No, Ethan Lewis come on.
Oh, right.
Asarati'd come on, and then Ethan Lewis has just come on as well.
It all gets very complicated now.
You have to scroll down now, don't you?
I just have to make the screen bigger.
Yeah.
And I haven't colour coordinated my subs. Do some talking while I do that in a minute.
Jared is lovely step off his right, so we're attacking just inside the Glasgow half.
Keep going.
And then gone left with Nipper's gone left. Need to carry with a bit forward. Glasgow look pretty organised in defence, if I'm honest, at the moment. This ball isn't great. That looks offside. Nearly got a little bite out of them. We're still playing just inside Glasgow's half and looking to come the same way. Again, it's not great ball. A little grubber won't be nice from Jared Ray trying to carry. Again, strong defence from Glasgow pushing us back. Again, looked a bit offside. Come on, Mr. Murphy, give us something. Where are we going to go now? We're going to look to box kick this.
He's given us nothing all night.
Thomas is looking to box kick this. He slowed it down, which I think is the right decision. We keep this ball outside the 22. It would be a nice kick with Ray chasing. It's just gone a couple of metres too far. Nicely kicked into the 5 metre line. Peter Horn catches it.
Gets the mark. And Mr. Murphy has a quick chat with him and says, don't worry, you'll get a penalty for this next line out. And then you can have a kick at goal, mate. All right. Left-footed. One of those.
Nice kick.
That's a great kick. But it's been chucked in the field straight away by Thomas Williams. This is a statement.
Matthew. Now there's some chance.
Steps off his right foot over the halfway line. He's beaten a couple. and I'm not
Alan
sure,
Amos.
I believe it is Alan Amos who kicks it off his left foot, and Glasgow will counter from right underneath their own post. Peter Horn says, I'm not having anything to do with this. Get it off the park, boys. Sort it. So, chance for the Blues now then, as I move my Starbucks condiment cup into vision.
Can you get hobnobs on Uber Eats then?
I think you can get anything on Uber Eats, can't you? You can.
Yeah.
You can get. I was sat watching. Do you know? I was so discombobulated by all the lockdowns and everything. And I was sat in my house about 5 weeks ago. I didn't even realise Wales were playing France. So I just scrolled through the television. Wales France. Go, oh, so I put it on. We scored directly from the kickoff. Immediately. I haven't got any beer.
It's been downhill since then, isn't it?
I ordered some beer from the co-op on Uber Eats.
Brilliant. Yeah. No, I did. We
and
did
it
in the
arrived
summer.
in about 20 minutes.
We did in the summer.
Yeah.
Oh, a bit warm again. Oh, I was doing the barbecue actually. I haven't really got anything. Went on M&S. And within 25 minutes, you get your sausages, burgers, a couple of baps, a bit of salad.
Sensational, isn't it? What a world we live in.
But the alcohol one is good.
Yeah.
For responsible drinking, obviously.
Of course.
And some unresponsible drinking.
Oh, guess what? The Blues have an attacking line out, and the referee didn't like the fact that Rory Thornton's bandage had slipped over his left ear and has penalised him.
So I think it's one of those ones where you know you've lost the line out because you're mid-air and they've gone up in front of you and nicked it, and then you thought, right, and you grab the arm because it's so easy to grab someone when they're mid-air.
We were singing the praises of the Blues set piece because it has been good to this point, but it's clutch, isn't it? It's in the clutch. You need it. You know, that was an attacking opportunity. There've not been many for the Blues. In the clutch, you need to be good, and they weren't there.
You know, you look at games and when you review matches and players review match, and I hope this isn't one of them, but you look and going, well, Blues are up 10-9, 60 minutes. They've got a line-up just outside the 22, and then you give away a penalty, and then they put, I think Bryce put in a great kick, and now they're attacking outside Blues, just outside Blues' 22. Is this like a moment in the game? Because this is always going to be a tight one, isn't it? Something's going to be a moment that's going to define or change it. And is that something? Hopefully not. But you're right. It's just things like that, isn't it? It's getting your set piece right at crucial times. Like yesterday, England do, Wales don't.
Glasgow got it right then. They won it at the front. They've peeled it infield. Couple of forwards taking it up. Then it's taken up by Wilson, who runs into the shoulder of the midfield Blues defence. Probably not one of the centres, but the fanning out back row.
And is it?
Oh, and guess what?
Calm down, Rick. Calm down.
Correct me if I'm not wrong, but not 2 minutes ago, didn't Peter Horn mark a ball here? And the referee came up to him and I said, here's the conversation. You just find touch, get yourself down there and I'll give you a penalty.
To be fair, your lip reading is a lot better than your number spotting. That's true.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, and that was what happened.
And have you found out the penalty count yet with your £10 a year app?
No, I haven't.
I think you get what you pay for.
I think they maybe only update it.
I'm going to go to
Go on, you do it.
It's ESPN Scrum stats. They're usually pretty good. Scores.
No, I don't think they'll. Oh, here we go. No. Here we go. Penalties. 3-1. I don't think that's right, is it?
Not in this game, it isn't.
Oh, we have got a lot. Tackles made, tackles missed. Blues have made 111 tackles compared to Glasgow 69.
Okay.
Missed 13.
I managed to get the French.
Oh, we've got 9-5 for the moment. Oh, no. Well, the Blues have got a yellow card by all accounts.
I missed that.
Well, they did show Gwilym Bradbury. I think when we were joking about that tap down incident, I think he did give a tap down and a yellow card to Gwilym Bradbury because they were showing him on the bench. I thought maybe they just subbed him, but tell you what, we should look at that. Yeah, Gwilym Bradbury has got a yellow card.
Well, aren't we? That's what you pay for, the level of observation.
We got there at the end, so we didn't miss it.
Via the app.
Yeah. Oh, that was a knock on, is it? No, Frank says gone backwards.
Well, the Warriors have the lead then by 10 points to 12 as the game moves to its final quarter. It's within its final quarter. I can't see how much time there is left on the. It's probably only about 5 minutes then since the penalty that made it 10-9, and then they'll have one that makes it 10-12. So
It's a good kick.
Blues will do everything they can to make sure they don't concede any more now on the power play and just try and go into the last 15 minutes of this game with a chance of turning it around again, because I think the away form has been disappointing. Welsh teams just don't win in Ireland. I mean, it's getting to the point where they just phone up and say, "Look, we're not coming. Have the
Be a lot
points.
cheaper.
Yeah, have the points, and it'll save us money."
And the thing is, as well, it used to be right because at least you get a night out over there.
Yeah,
the board on, you're getting that. So I mean,
you
you can't even go out there and play a bit of golf and then have a night out in a restaurant you frequent on most Irish weekends. We've got a penalty. There we go.
Whoa!
Penalty
from now. This could be crucial actually, because, like we said, if there is a yellow card on here, then get down into the corner, either eat up the clock, or get a score. Is even better, isn't it?
Would be nice.
The thing that it doesn't show that it doesn't indicate the yellow card on the graphic of the Premier Sport graphic that they project up onto the screen. But I'm looking for anyone to blame other than us.
Oh, Jared. So Jared's gone for a banana kick, which is one of these ones where you hold the ball. So if this was the ball, so you hold it on the angle like that, so it's there, and you kick this part of the ball, so it does that.
Right.
That's what they call banana kick. But
is that because so it's a right footer to get that
to the touchline? Yeah. And he tried to do that, and it's come off the side a bit and gone that way instead of going. You want it to go forward a bit and then start curving off.
So you shank
like
it.
It's a bit of a shank, yeah. Whereas you want it to be like a nice fade where you hit the ball nicely and then just drifts off nicely and then curls into the touchline and hopefully ends up 5 meters out. But unfortunately,
would it be better just to learn to kick off your left foot?
Well, no, because you can't really. We haven't got enough time to go into that.
Okay. What, he's too narrow, or can he? Oh, well done, Mr. Murphy. Managed to find a way to conclude that Glasgow held that up before it turned to a ruck. Oh, and you'd think they just won the pools, wouldn't you?
Yeah, they'd happy with that. There's a lot of noise from that.
A lot of backslapping, and well done, Glasgow. Well done. Rah, rah.
I'm trying to think, when you go away from home, there's definitely more of that. Like we create our own buzz and stuff like that. I mean, which is what they did there. They did well to turn the ball over, but again, that's two possessions the Blues have had just outside the Glasgow 22. Lost the line out, and then we tried to drive them all and lost that, unfortunately. But back to your point about the whole left foot, right foot thing. As much as the angle is slightly better for a left footer, you don't necessarily curl it to that touchline. You can do almost an inside banana kick, but I'm getting quite technical now.
I just remember back in the day when the old spiral kick. I suppose, yeah, you're right. It was just straight. Oh my goodness, is that's TJ Ioane?
Yeah,
Ioane.
And I've been in that position before when you get a number 8 picking up at that, who's fresh. He's just come on the bench.
That's an unbelievable carry off the back of a scrum. Thomas Williams, I think he's winded. I don't think he's hurt. I think he just got smashed by TJ Ioane. I know he's limping. There you go. Well done, Ashley.
Yeah.
Well done. Show what you know. Limping off his right ankle by the look of it.
Yeah. He's not looking great.
No, he'll be off in a minute. And I wouldn't mess with him, really.
No.
Get him off. Get Jamie Hill on. He played really well.
He did.
Weeks ago.
That's a
fantastic kick. And
there's a lot of noise coming from
there is a lot of noise coming from the Glasgow water carriers.
They brought
and the ref, obviously, the ref's cheering, leading the cheering.
Have they brought 100 people with them? They suddenly brought. I mean, they never have a lot of crowd. Well, they never used to. I don't know, but they're more now. But they unfortunately, it wasn't a great kick from Jared Evans because he's gone high, but he's landed in the middle of the park, and then it's given one of the Glasgow players a chance to basically kick to either side rather than trying to go to the core to the side and him trying to kick from there. He's managed to find touch and it rolled out really nicely. But it's a bit of a momentum swing at the moment. It feels a little bit like that, doesn't it? The Blues need having 2 bits of possession and losing them from the set pieces. So obviously gives the backs ammunition to
look at that. That was a fantastic piece of play. Sam Moore on the receipt of a lovely and very ambitious. Look, I will chapeau, hats off to the Blues for thinking, well, look, if we're going to do it, we're going to have to do it. We have to do it in style, because the kicking for field position is not working, and so they're going to carry it. The danger with that, though, is that you're soon likely to fall foul of Mr. Murphy. Oh, he's been solid at the back. Oh, is that Bryce?
Perfect. You said exactly the right thing.
Absolutely. Just when needed, something has to happen.
He's been solid until he spooned that kick off the side of his foot and has given the Blues a line out just outside the 22. And I think we got away with that because it was a funny one because the Blues have tried to move it, gone to midfield, and then try to kick, which is actually the worst place to try and kick when you
got so far back in the pocket as well.
Yeah, but we've got away with one. Anyway, we've got possession, so it'd be great.
Well, hang on a minute. We haven't got possession yet.
We've got a ball.
We've got.
Well, does it count as possession? Which you've got.
Well, we've got it at the moment until we throw it into the line-out. This is to say that this is a crucial line-out would be. I don't know what's going on there. I can't even blame the ref for that, and I can't see quite who it was. I'm reluctant to blame Thornton because I like him. But whoever the catcher was, either catch it and throw it behind them.
Yeah, he tried to tap it down and
didn't deliver it very well.
For Thomas Williams. And
anyway, Glasgow won the ball. It bounced in front of Thomas Williams. Glasgow reacted quicker. They have possession in the 5-metre channel, still inside their own half, but only just. Their next carry will put. Oh, that's right. Shout at the ref. Tell him, boys, to give the ref the penalty.
You said 3 phases and we get a penalty.
We have 3 phases, ref. We haven't got a penalty yet. They are making some noise, man, this Glasgow contingent. I'd like to see Nipper Morgan step out of about 8 tackles.
He's done a few.
He's done 3 there, bounced off 1. He needs some help, and thankfully.
Do you remember that one? I think it was last season when he played Glasgow at the Arms Park, and he's taking a quick line out to himself with about 5 Glasgow players chasing him, and everyone's gone, "Oh, what are you doing?" He's bounced through them all. They got great decision. And then when Lane scored in the corner, it was the worst decision ever, but they scored from it.
Well, he pulled it off, and now he's at first receiver,
which he can do.
He started off.
He's got to let go of that now, Greg. Greg can't stay in that.
No, and they pushed him away. Morgan up at first receiver again, and now in Jacklin as a guard, which is something of a worry. But
here we go
again now. Jared Evans takes it out. That's Sam Moore carrying again. And the intercept pass comes, and that I think will probably just about put a tin hat on it, because I can't see how the Blues will come back from that. It was no, it wasn't speculative. You can talk through what the ambition was, but it's a try scored. I'm not sure by whom. Because of the
Glasgow.
By Glasgow. That's right.
I mean, they've tried to play a bit. I don't mind them trying to play there. I think you can definitely try and go through the phase. Unfortunately, when they've gone out the back and Jared took the ball out the back, I think it was from Azarati, and then he's gone out the back again, and it's almost gone, well, we have to keep going out the back and then try to get wide. In Glasgow, obviously, that's 4 passes. And by that point, the winger can easily spot it.
I think it might be Lee Jones, the winger, that just spotted it and picked it. And
so it didn't really, you never thought, it's on for the Blues. There's always a bit of where are we going with this?
Yeah.
But I guess you can't just we don't want to be carrying forwards up. It's just, I think maybe the ball was when Jared got it to be able to hit some forwards up instead of going out the back again. But I know it's easy in hindsight. But we're playing inside. I mean, we're playing inside our own half there and we're losing by 12-10, wasn't it? So there's no means we have to kind of. I mean, now we do. Now we have to play from everywhere. But,
well, I mean, it's
kind of thinking. Do you actually just?
So it's likely to only get worse. Well, no, it could. Let's not be nil desperandum. Yeah, we've got to be like that because we're Welsh,
Thomas Williams is off.
Yeah, I think that's probably sensible in a game like this that's potentially slipping away. Trying to get the restart. Josh Turnbull will never knowingly accept defeat, will he?
No.
Just keeps going and going and going.
He's been good this year.
Referee Murphy, I think, has managed to find a penalty. He had his arm up. and Glasgow, who have been good. Let's be fair.
Do you know what? I've actually been impressed with them. So
Yeah,
I think
they're a good side.
they've been defensively, they've been pretty good. Apart from set piece, where Blues have cut them a couple of times or very nearly, I think they've actually been pretty good. Been really physical.
Very, very efficient.
I mean, if this continues, and you'd say that Glasgow have come and done a job, haven't they?
They have.
That's a penalty, surely, because he knocked it on. Oh, Nipper got it back. Give it.
Somehow. No,
That's
that's James. Oh, he's given.
Could have played on.
Well, why couldn't you have played on?
I did say it was a knock on, and he caught it. Yeah. Anyway, we've still got a bit of time, though, Rick, haven't we? I mean,
We have 5.
here we go, Jay. Here's a banana
7.
kick. Here's a better banana kick.
That's
There we
a better
are.
one.
That's a much better kick.
So we have 6.5 minutes of normal time plus whatever stop. Well, there won't be stoppages because the clock stops now, doesn't it? So it'll be when the clock
Do you
counts
remember?
down.
Because sometimes when they watch a whole game in Six Nations and there's like the clock's in 83 or whatever, and no one actually knows when they're. Do you like that excitement? If is the ref going to blow up or not? Do you not think that's better than the old everyone knows what's going on? Like, oh, he's going again.
All
Wait,
the
he's going
players, all the
again.
players know because they kick it off the field don't they, as soon as. And I
No,
do
but-
that. Is it because they look at the clock or the referee?
No, but
tells
years ago
them?
you never did, though, did you?
No,
I
you
prefer
just,
that.
yeah.
We've lost that.
Well, the Blues did win the line-out ball from the super banana kick, and it was just one carry into midfield before someone got sealed off. And I mean, not all of it is down to the referee, Murphy. The Glasgow back row has been quite exceptional.
It was, unfortunately, Jared slipped as he tried to sidestep, which meant that the tackler obviously didn't have to release him because he was on the floor, so he was just straight on the ball.
Straight to
So
the jackal.
I mean, that's one that's a bit unlucky. That's not to harp on, but that's third or fourth time that we've had possession of 22 and lost it.
Well, I think that will be the sort of the take home from tonight will be that defensively very good. The attacking, I mean, we put Connacht to the sword. You know, we soaked them up in that game.
Yeah.
We soaked up, and then hit them on the break. Less so against Ulster. We struggled with that one. And then I suppose Benetton.
Ulster were good.
was
I
a
think Ulster was
similar type thing.
slightly better.
That was a game for us. That would have been a great win. You know.
Well, that's the thing. Actually, that we could have won that. We were right in there.
At home, I suppose if you're going to be a side with any ambition, you know, this is one of the cliches. You have to win your home games.
Yeah.
If you're going to be ambitious in any competition, any sport, you need to win your home games. And the season now is slipping because this will now be a home defeat. We're sitting low in the league anyway. And
The tackle by Mason Brady.
Glasgow will just close this out now. I mean, they've got.
Let's go back to penalty.
Now can we go back to penalty?
What does that say? 75-50, is it?
Yeah, and ticking. So there's a rubber-dub man on the field. There's a bit of a conference going on. Half a dozen of the Glasgow travelling support, technical crew, are patrolling the touchline, and the clock is still ticking down. The Glasgow pack are, moving at the rate of an asthmatic ant, weighed down with some particularly heavy shopping. My respects to Lord Blackadder for borrowing that phrase. And now, a minute later...
Yeah, well, exactly. You put a terrible kick in.
A minute later, Glenn Bryce clubs it
nearly
over the hazel stand.
What is it now? Is it not called the Compede stand now?
It's
Is
the
it still
hazel
the
stand.
hazel stand?
Yeah,
Is it?
it'll
Okay.
always be the hazel stand. What do Compede do? They don't sponsor the
You should
Blues
know
anyway,
it.
do they? I don't know. Compede.
Oh, I shouldn't mention them, should I?
No,
I shouldn't mention
they're
them.
not
Whatever they
Uber
do, they'd be
Eats,
terrible.
They're not Uber Eats, and they're not Aspen, Waite,
And
Wales.
hobnobs. We're
And
not sold with hobnobs.
Well, anything's available throughout Uber Eats. I doubt Compede is. I don't know what it is. Glasgow in possession then. It's hard to not be a bit deflated.
I do feel as though we've gone about. I thought Blues would win. I thought we'd win this time. I
Yeah.
did think that.
Well, you had the bookies had Glasgow odds on, didn't they?
No, us Blues were odds
Oh,
on.
there's us odds
Blues,
on, did
yeah,
they? Oh,
yeah.
should have had some of that. I'm sorry, we should have. An emotional insurance bet only. That's
Yeah,
what. Just to.
I thought we did. I thought we played well against Benetton.
I think there's a couple of Blues players getting a bit angry, and there's been a few tackles that have gone in there that might, on another occasion, got.
That's another thing that's lost out of the game recently. We lost the game, but I'm gonna really annoyed. Yeah. I'm gonna take someone out really high.
Someone's having it.
Yeah.
There's lots of things that make it slightly less of the sport than it once was, but there we are.
No, it's been, but I think only because we've been done an arm wrestle, haven't we? The Glasgow, just a few little things. I think that those set piece decisions that we said around the 60-minute mark. I think there's a drop goal attempt, and it's not a bad one. I think it's gone through the middle, hasn't it? No, just the side.
Just to the right. A reasonable effort.
Not sure why you went for a drop goal there, if I'm honest.
Because he could. Because he could, and it.
For the 19-10 up.
Yeah, but
it wouldn't have done it. I mean,
I suppose.
I thought you just keep possession, wouldn't you? I mean, now the Blues have got a chance of obviously trying to get the possession back, and obviously not going to win the game with a minute to go, but we could get a losing bonus point.
Big second row.
Maybe he had a couple of quid on that.
Maybe did, yeah. Kieran McDonald grabs it.
Obviously, because players aren't allowed to bet.
No, and nor would anyone ever think of it.
No.
And they wouldn't get a call through to their cousin or anything to put one on for them, because that would be obvious, wouldn't it?
Be silly.
And the bookies would just know. But Glasgow in possession, 8 metres into the Blues half, just running down the clock, really. We're 40 seconds from another home defeat for the Blues, and this one will be, I think this will be tough to take, not because they have thrown it away, but I think it just sort of it tracks the season in a downward arc, in terms of, right, well, then that's 2 home defeats now, and things are just drifting in a way that you wouldn't want them to. European rugby obviously on the horizon.
Well, I guess Challenge Cup means that there might be some game time for
talking about Challenge Cup. You watched the Rugby League on Friday?
I saw the final.
Did you see the final? I've never seen anything like that. What a way to lose a game! And that the last kick hits the post. Drop
goal to go to try and win the game. Hits the post, bounces 15 times while the Wigan fullback was watching it.
Yeah, and then gathered the try score. Well, that's it. That's it. It's all over here at Rodney Parade. We will have a bit of a debrief. 19 points to 10. Oh, it's hard. We'll try and lift our spirits. But let's think about, first and foremost, from your point of view, where did it go? Where did it go wrong? Where did it come undone?
I think if you look at the game as a whole, we saw the first half that Blues were defending a lot, and we were only, was it 6-3 half time, wasn't it? But I guess that kind of takes its toll, doesn't it? Unfortunately, and I was more optimistic, thinking, well, second half we can turn it around and get a bit of possession. Great, but that it kind of carried on, wasn't it? As a mirror image in the second half, where Blues just couldn't quite get hold of the ball for long enough, and we scored a great try, which is what we kind of tend to do, is defend, and then be able to do something from nothing. But then in those key moments where you've got to retain possession, like I said, the game was always going to be tight, but you have 3 possessions in the 20, just outside the Glasgow 22, and not get past FAs in it. So things like that, really, if you can keep possession, put a bit of pressure on the opposition, then you can grind them down a bit. And just Blues just didn't do that. Glasgow did that to the Blues.
I think, to me, it'll come down to the ball in hand. And carrying, I think Glasgow just did that better. They had the opportunity to do it more. They carried it more and more effectively. Early on, I think we were talking about how that was a facet of the game where they were superior to us at it. And I'm not sure that was the material outcome, but I just think if you look at the set piece was pretty much even. The halfbacks in terms of kicking, I don't think there was a great deal, but I just think the ball in hand. And with the carrying and over the ball, over the ball at the tackler, I just think that they're smart. So they're a little bit more streetwise. They just, that seems to be the thing. The sides that we play against, either we talk about the. It's interesting to see Josh Turnbull having a long old chat there with Mr. Murphy at the end. Several minutes after the final whistle, stood there talking to him. So I think that there was some problems with interpretation, but I think with a lot of the things when we saw them, like you said, that last one, Jared Evans trying to make something happen, he slips, he's isolated, they're over the ball. There's nothing you can do about that. And I think, on balance, if a side is that much dominant over the ball, they're going to get the penalties. And I think that was, for me, one of the big things. But it's the direction of travel now, isn't it? Where are the Blues going now? And what do they do now? Where do they go? What will be said in there now?
They get some players back, and where the Blues have been so good is turnovers, which is something that actually Glasgow were good at today, because obviously Ollie Robinson and Jim both are so good at that area, and obviously we've got Jim's up with Wales and Ollie's injured, so those two players are so key, and Ollie's so key in these types of games. And you're right, Glasgow were better than that, and Gordon Bradley did really well for his first game today. But I mean, there weren't many times where the Blues got those turnovers, and then we can move in, and then we turn defence into attack. So once we get some players back from Wales, which we will look forward to, then that'll help a lot. And then when we get, if Navs is back fit, then great. And suddenly you're looking at the Blues and going, there's a bit more depth there for us.
But then it'll be Six Nations again, and then they'll go off again. It's a tough old furrow to plough, and I'm talking about it and trying, less as an independent pundit, but as a Blues fan, as a Blues fan of, as a Cardiff RFC before, as someone who's been Cardiff, it's. Well, we're not that long between drinks. We did win the cup a couple of years ago, but in terms of your domestic season, that's 9 on the spin now to Glasgow. It gets a bit grating losing. No, I
agree. I'm the same boat.
Unless we're playing Zebra or Benetton, it seems to be we don't get many. And Connacht, of course, and Connacht, who are a good side. I don't mean to be disrespectful to Zebra or Benetton, but it's the kind of the direction of travel. Is a bit of a concern. Martin, come on, you've gate crashed and parked again. Come on in quickly. We won't have long because we'll be off there shortly. But
same old story, isn't it?
Well, tell us the story. Tell us the story as you see it.
Well, we were out-muscled up front, kept going, kept playing, worked hard. Probably sort of got a bonus point out of it, created some opportunities, but a bonus point
ain't good enough. Bonus point ain't going to wash it.
No, we're not. Yeah,
we need to be winning.
But we all know. We know that the causes of this. It's the strength in depth. I mean, we've got William Bradley played well, but he's 19, making his first cap. And
why have Glasgow got so much more strength in depth then?
Well, because they get much better support from the Scottish Rugby Union. So that the three sides are actually part of the same limited company, Scotland and Glasgow and Edinburgh. So they've got much more funding and much more depth.
I think, with all due respect, I don't think we could look at unions and why we lost that game today. That's down to who we've got playing, and we made some errors within that. And you're right, it is the same old story. Unfortunately, I watched the game this season or the last few seasons where you thought the effort isn't there. No. But unfortunately, it is the same type of things. And up front, we do struggle. And we know where we've got the back, so we can create things. And not just me being biased because I was a back. You look and go, well, majority of games, if not all games, are won and lost by the forwards. And especially when you've got nights like this, it's all about those set pieces the physicality of it.
I'm not disagreeing at all. I'm just saying that the strength in depth. Look at the age and experience of their pack to our pack.
Mark Townsend watching his hotel room in Switzerland, if he hasn't tuned out already. A big hello to you. I don't think they lock down in Switzerland. They're quite forward thinking.
Really?
They're pretty clever. Look,
and Switzerland's not very exciting when it's not locked down.
Oh, I think it is this time of year. We're getting close to skis. Look, I've become dysarthric. Such is my disappointment of. I just. The ref had a shock on my didn't he? Come on, let's get back. Let's blame the union.
The Scottish union.
We can always, death taxes and Irish referees. We can always blame the Irish referees. Right. I think that's they tend to not referee the dominant side,
but which is probably fair. And I think that look, we don't have the best vantage point here. We could probably do with just a disappointing future, boys, with like a bit of HD monitor, so we can.
I think it's a style.
better
It's
informed
a
on it,
style of refereeing. Isn't it?
It certainly looked to me like most of his decisions were full of. I'd love to have had a crowd here. I'd love to have had.
But it's the style of
other than the
refereeing,
Glasgow away support, which was quite phenomenal. wasn't it?
Yeah.
Indeed.
Incredible
But
traffic.
they've never been that much sport when we were in the other park. I've never heard it that loud.
I'm trying to think, what was the name of it that Nicky was talking about earlier, where Glasgow used to play in that housing estate before they went to Scotstoun? I'm trying to
Was
think.
it Annie's Land?
I can't think of the name of it.
Something land, was it? Should know that. They lost there enough time. I'm trying to forget about it if I'm honest.
There we are. Right, disappointing. It is quite. It was hard to see tonight in the second half as well. I couldn't pick out. I mean,
That's another reason.
yeah,
That's another reason.
another
We couldn't
reason.
see.
You play.
We couldn't see. The Blues couldn't see the fight.
When are we back next? When's our next game, boys? We're not sure. We may not be back, but I hope we will.
Oh God, it's gone that well.
I'm sure we will be back.
Don't ring us.
We've had lots of fun. Deflating, disappointing, dispiriting performance tonight. But we don't go far, but we have some fun, do we?
Indeed. I wouldn't go as far as that. It was disappointing, but I thought everybody
You speak
gave.
for me, man. I don't speak for myself. I'm deflated. I'm disappointed. I'm dispirited. But
You could do with deflating.
Oh, easy.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I have got horizontal stripes on. It makes it look
Well,
worse.
it
Strong,
doesn't
plain, dark colours.
Strong,
But at least you get some stats. I don't.
Good fun. And we will thank
I've
Aspen
enjoyed it.
White
I've
Wales.
enjoyed it,
I've,
right.
I've had a
Yeah.
delight with you
Yeah.
tonight, Nicky. It's been fabulous. Uber Eats, of course, have been our sponsors always. Aspen White Wales as ever.
And hobnobs.
And
Hobnobs,
Hobnobs.
yeah.
Anyone who's tuned in and all those who took part, Mr. Bovis, Mr. Townsend in Switzerland, and Glyn Towler, especially, who took time to ask us some questions. Thank you for that. We will be back on that. I can give you some assurances.